So just like always, I'm gonna get into a recap, tell you guys where we left off, and then it's player agency right away, all you guys. Um, of course, it'll just be you two for a little bit, and then as we'll come in there somewhere probably. Frixur, 32nd of Stivos, 301 YOD. Morning. It was an ocean of green so beautiful and so vast. A forest of shadowy figures watching back with glowing emeralds for as far as the eye could see. They watched Rylon and Eamon back as they peered into the void, the plane that all creation came from. When the rift had shown itself shut, all that would be left to remember Halifax by were his hat, the symbol of Solima, the card, and the lifeless hand that Eamon now held at his side. Gray masked flesh that felt nothing. Such a cruel harken back to Stezriel's words. Misinformation really did spread like wildfire. It was true that High Faithful Letiaga warned them of Foss. Now Rylon and Eamon would be left to wonder who else they could trust, and which words hid lies beneath the surface. It was fair for one to suppose that memories too could be forged, so what if the memory that Havarek shared with Rylon was fabricated? So much had been said, it was enough to leave a man's head spinning as they trailed the intricately laid threads. Was it Oscar that had been wrong this whole time? There'd at least be plenty of miles ahead of them to think on their encounter. Maybe one day Gabriel would be able to meet his long-dead ancestor, Seamus Farron, the second witch hunter, loyal champion of the Lich. Moriel shed a tear as the sun rose on Ostoya, bringing with it a sense of the unknown. There would be many new beginnings and many new ends. Because even though all things eventually would come to an end, there would always be a start to something that followed. The darkness may have ended, but Foscatil had told Halifax they'd return. There was no doubting that the party would know when that time came. And so we resume on the 32nd of Frixur. You guys have just spoken to the Lich, left, and we're on your way headed northeast towards Falahart, or sorry, not Falahart, towards Nova Stoya. And being that you guys are off the beaten path, it's a little bit more uncharted, and there are many more things to see, and many more things out there that could harm you. But the difference being now that you guys are in the rising sunlight, because when Foscatil left the material plane, so too did the darkness that was shrouded over Ostoya. And so we resume with you guys on your horses, wandering along. You were recently just talking.
I guess I would be probably pretty quiet, all things considering. We just lost Halifax to the Void. So, I mean, I'm pretty, Rylon's always been like a very kind of self-centered, guy. He doesn't really talk too much unless spoken to, or he feels like his opinion is necessary. But he's abnormally quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Eamon would be sitting there, arm, the little bits of gray skin that are still there. Has anything changed in the last little bit of time, or has it remained mostly the same?
It remains mostly the same. There have been no changes. You haven't gained back any feeling. The hand, like from your wrist bone down, is where it's gray.
Yeah, after a good bit of time in silence, Eamon would look over to Rylon. So, what is the plan now? There's only two of us. Do you think that we can complete our task?
I'm unsure, but there is a lot of questions that need to be answered, and it appears that both you and I, regardless, we're headed in the same direction. I intend to take you to Nova Storia and to hopefully find more answers. This obelisk clearly is the source of not only what brought Halifax to the Void and summoned the Kindred, but the darkness that perhaps swelled over Ostoya as a whole.
Hmm. It should be noted that I'm not sure why my master's original intentions were for the obelisk, but with all that I've learned now, I'm not too sure that they were pure or only monetary. Hmm?
What are your masters like, Eamon?
Eh, well, it's like having an overlord, right? The one I am directly responsible to. He could, if he wanted, crush my family out in an instant. What remains of it? He could have my farm burned and pillaged, make it look like it was bandits or some riffraff. So I remain in his good graces. I wouldn't say that he is a good man, but a practical one.
He's not a warrior or a capable, person with styles of arcana, is he? Or is he just a rich lord?
He gives you one of his classic casual shrugs. That is not for me to know. If he is such a thing, he has not revealed it to me. I just know him as a powerful, connected, and dangerous man.
You said you've been on this quest for how long?
About 10 years now. Uh, this specific obelisk rumor, just about a few months, but I've looked around the entire continent for this obelisk. It has evaded me until now.
Well, it appears that your lord is gracious enough to not have you on a timetable.
I don't think he actually thought that I could find it. Mm.
Fair enough.
To give a man an impossible task is an easy thing.
Now that you've been faced with the option of knowing exactly or perhaps a sudden location of where the obelisk may be, what are your intentions now?
Well, I must still confirm that it is there. Uh, that it is safe to approach, and then I will report its location back, and that should be the end of it. If he lets me off my leash.
I'm sorry if I keep hounding you with questions, but I'm not too familiar with the Shalnot Kingdom, so things like this, they a bit concerning that a lord in far reach of Atharis would be concerned about this obelisk, and if he knew the location of it, what his intentions would be with it. Would he march an army through Ostoya to get it?
Well, it is worth kingdoms and empires, just the material, let alone what magical properties are untold. Um, I have no idea, but I know that I can't move forwards with my family and my life until I am out from under the thumb of this man.
Right. And your sister, how long she's been at the Raven Court?
Ah, Olinda. He's like thinking back as though he's trying to remember the exact date. It was sometime when she was a teenager. She made a mistake that she couldn't come back from with her magical prowess. And so they made her an offer and she accepted. And since then she has been with them. What they do, he gives you another shrug. I can't tell you, but uh, she does not seem as loyal to her family as she once was.
Well, hopefully that now that she knows, or hopefully if our friend Matisse, who also is in the Raven Court, has contacted her, it isn't being held against you in any way.
Yes. I am concerned about these people. From what we have heard, I'm sure that they have their own plans in the world at the moment.
Things are unraveling fast, and Rylon would look up to the sky that the sun is now breaking through.
hmm
Uh,
It, it's about now that that you may realize that there are birds that are flying around in the sunlight. Perhaps when it was dark, they would see you coming and they would hear you coming and kind of like hide or fly away. And the same goes for the kind of squirrel-like creatures that you see with like large ears and webbed arms, with like black fur and red eyes. Um, they just they keep a distance from you and they're very tucked away in like the corners of branches, trying to hide from the light that they're not yet used to.
this changes everything, you know.
I imagine, yes, a great deal will change with this. Uh, how exactly do you see it changing Nova Stoya?
I'm unsure. The people of Novostoya have been under the boot of the Crimson Court for who knows how long at this point, but mostly because they had the advantage of being in perpetual darkness.
But
Now that the sun shines again, who knows?
it could be a dangerous place to be at the moment, actually, now that I think about it. I imagine the Paleskins are none too happy about this.
No. And I assume the Lich neither.
Hmm.
One thing that does come to your minds is that the Lich had mentioned that this means the chance for his people to grow crops. Like now that the sun is out, and he was fairly excited about that for his people.
It seems like it could be a new beginning for the Ostonian Empire as long as it doesn't come back.
You're right, but the words of the Lich, he said that the benefit of having the darkness was allowing the bloodsuckers to run rampant, but having the bloodsuckers run rampant was a problem for people like you and I, but it allowed a layer of protection in the Ostoyan Empire, something that the Burok could not penetrate. But now that that layer of protection is dissipated, I fear for something much worse.
Hmm.
As if on cue, you guys are wandering along on your horses and talking about how this darkness changes everything, and that it was not only a threat to the Estoian people, but also it was like a defensive mechanism to some extent. And you see off to the side, just in like a little bit of swamp tucked away off to the right, trees like all around you still. You see what looks like just a small rock outcropping, kind of like a cave carved into it, a small one. But staring back from the dark, with glowing yellow eyes, are these shadowy figures. Rylon, you would recognize these as shadow stealers, which are now no longer able to freely roam the east.
I kind of point off in the direction of the cave, or the mouth of the cave. You see those over there?
He put his hand up above his eyes and kind of squint over. Ah, oh, I do. What are they?
Those are shadow stealers. Honestly, they're pretty much everywhere, and they take full advantage of, claiming onto your shadow and sucking the essence from you until you're essentially nothing more than a withered corpse. We've encountered a couple of them back in our stay in the Burok Empire. Our friend Reuben, he's sort of specialized in hunting these types of creatures. I'm sure he'd crack a smile knowing that they were hiding in such a terrible cave.
Yes, it is good to see such parasites back where they belong. Yeah. He turned his head away from the creatures and kind of keep moving along.
Mhm.
Do you think that we should pick up the pace towards Novostoya, as things might be changing quite quickly over there with the... And he points up towards the sky again.
I think you're right. We should definitely make haste.
Right. And he kicks his
Yeah,
steed,
yeah.
and gallops off.
Okay. And so do you guys pass kind of like the rest of the day in silence, just kind of focusing, and it's maybe, I mean, you guys have been talking and traveling for quite some time. Before we ended last session, we had noted that it had been a couple hours at least. Um, and we'll say it's like just cresting noon right now when you guys kick into your kind of gallop. Just silent.
Eamon would kind of lead the gallop here, and we would do short rests every now and then, but most of the time we're going to be focusing on moving from point A to point B to try to get to Novostoya as soon as possible. So we would rest the horses every now and then to make sure they're all right, and then keep it moving until evening time, where we would look for some shelter.
Got it. Um, and so as you guys are going along, once again, these kind of like animals that are used to staying in the dark and not having sunlight around them, not really being in sight of people, they're just like scurrying off, and you can hear twigs break off to the side when one notices you, and leaves dash up from the ground. Small puddles splash with their footfalls. These like deer sort of abominations with strong overgrowth of fur around them, like all matted and tick ridden. With instead of hooves, they have what looks to be like clawed paws almost, but they still have deer heads and deer antlers and stuff like that. Another thing that you notice is these small armadillo-like creatures with, rather than like smooth shells, they have these barbed spines that cover their whole back, and sharp rows of teeth with like milky white eyes and large nostrils. Likely something that had adapted to the dark long ago. But that's just kind of like the stuff that you see along the way now that it's light out. But as you described, you guys travel and short rest, and then travel and short rest, and you're galloping all the while. And before you know it, sunset falls upon the east side of Etheris. Perhaps time to start looking for shelter.
Okay, Eamon would like slow his gallop a bit on the path that we're on, and look back to Rylon, letting him catch up. So, where to for tonight?
It's a good question. I've been thinking during the ride here, most of these creatures have been used to this darkness for a while, right?
And they are likely to be very unhappy about the daytime.
Yes.
Probably
Which-
very active.
Exactly. They've been used to roaming 24/7, pretty much. But now that there's a timetable here, they might be worse at night.
Yes, perhaps we find ourselves somewhere safe quite quickly.
How are you in tracking for camp? Are you?
He gives you like a shaky hand. I am pretty good at finding things, but my survival instincts remain most with the animals. And he pats his horse on the side of the neck.
Right. Well, I can certainly give it a shot if you'd like. Prowler, do you want me to make a perception or a survival check to see if we can find a good spot for camp?
I'm gonna tell you now. So perceiving, looking around you, like at a glance, and even probably an extended glance, you see that it's a lot of sort of flat terrain with little patches of really damp mud, like barely, and a lot of like tall, kind of drooped over on its side, nearly dead grass, trees, bushes, stuff like that, but like bushes that have half their leaves. Um,
Is there any?
so I'm gonna say a survival, I think.
What were you saying on that?
I was just gonna ask if there's any like tall trees around.
Definitely. You guys are kind of off the beaten path, pretty much in the thick of southeast Ostoya, where it's like um, mostly kind of dead trees, but definitely trees nonetheless.
If you want, I can check from up there. He kind of nods his head towards the tallest tree.
Sure, by all means.
Right. Holds the horse, please. He kind of leans over and grabs the reins and holds them out to you.
I grab them and awkwardly stand by the horses.
And yeah, he's gonna jump off the saddle and try to begin climbing this tree. Just run up along the side, grab the first branch, reach out, grab the second, and just start moving his way up the tree.
Got it. I'm not gonna make you roll for that. That seems like a pretty doable thing, especially with your character's background. And you make your way up the tree. It's one of the taller ones, taller than kind of the surrounding trees. A little bit shaky at the top, definitely, especially now that there's a gentle wind in Ostoya.
Okay.
Make a perception.
He's just gonna lean out and look around in a 360-degree view.
You're maybe about 80 feet up, and all the other trees around you are kind of like,
It's like
60, 65-ish.
It's like Assassin's Creed where you get those high points where you just look around the whole entire city.
Yeah. And then like all the little blips pop up, like interact here, interact here. Yeah. Looking around, you see that the forest goes from mile upon mile, pretty much as far as you can see. And off in the distance is a small rock outcropping, maybe just 2 miles to your north, that you can catch a glimpse of. Maybe actually like a mile north, that you can catch a glimpse of through the trees. Just a small glimpse. You can't see the full extent of what it is, but it is some sort of rocky outcropping. Aside from that, out to your southeast, just a few hundred feet, is a larger patch of water. Not quite like a swampland where it's just maybe waist deep, but like a small, maybe a pond. Perhaps it's like 15, 20 feet deep, maybe 40 feet by 30 feet wide.
Yeah, he'd let out a long whistle as he grabs the lips together and kind of catch Rylon's attention, give him a wave, and he'd point off in the direction of the rock outcropping as he begins climbing down the tree.
And as you're like climbing down the tree, a small figure sort of zips right past you. You catch a glimpse of it as it stops to look at you, and it stays there like flying in the air for an uncomfortable amount of time. It has 6 wings, 3 on each side. It's about fist-sized, and it has a row after row of these razor-sharp little teeth, with these 2 big, beady red eyes that just watch you for a moment. And then it flies off. As soon as it came, it just zips right off.
Yeah, he would have like froze, seeing it, his hands hanging out on a branch, just kind of just hanging there in mid suspension, looking at this thing. And then he'd drop again to the next branch, make his way down. Once he lands on the solid ground, he'd walk over to Rylon.
Mm-hmm. The ground is a little bit squishy, but yeah, solid.
I think I saw a little outcropping we could stay in over that way.
Perfect. Anything else?
Yes. You people have some strange creatures here in Ostoya.
Believe me, I'm aware. Why? What did you see now?
It gives you the general description of the creature.
Mm-hmm.
Would I have any idea what the fuck that thing is?
I'm gonna guess not.
Okay.
I think it's one of those things that is probably either new or, I mean, well, technically old since your time.
To be quite honest with you, Eamon, I have no idea what you're referring to. So that is quite worrisome.
Don't worry, I have no idea what I saw. So,
Fair
we're
enough.
quite even. But yes, I think that we should go and check out the outcroppings this way. There's also a pond over there, but who knows what things are lurking in that.
True. We're probably going to have to do a bit of hunting tonight. To be quite honest with you, I've been quite taking advantage of the fact that Halifax used to prepare breakfast for us in the morning, and we'd survive on rations throughout the day. But I'd be lying to you if I told you I had more rations to spare. So we should probably learn to hunt.
I see. Yes, we can certainly make an attempt. It wouldn't be the first time. So let's find a safe place to shelter, and then we will work on the food.
Sounds good.
We would,
So I'm
sorry.
assuming you guys hop right back on your horses and kind of start making your way out towards that rocky outcropping.
That's right.
Sure.
Okay. You get there and you find that it's kind of like half circle crescent shaped, and it's a rocky outcropping that comes up about 35 feet and then sort of like gently slopes down towards both sides, with the highest point being in the middle. But with this kind of crescent shape, you would at least only have really one direction that you need to watch. Like half of the 360 would be covered. It's maybe the gap from the far left side of it to the far right side of it is about 30 feet in diameter.
So, do you think we could find a place safe here?
It's as good as a spot as any, I imagine, unless you want to just stay under some trees.
No. This will work. Okay. Let's lead the horses in. And yeah, you try to find a good little place to nestle in here and leave the horses while we figure out food.
Yeah, I mean, one could imagine that the safest place to leave them here in this shape, like I said, it's like a half circle sort of crescent, would be right up against the far side, like underneath the tallest point, where they would be like right up against the rocks.
Perfect. Yeah, I'm gonna lead them in there. I'm gonna get a pitton out of my pack and nail it into the rock here. Put their leads on it and make sure they're not going anywhere.
That's awesome. I feel like I don't see enough use of those. People always have them, but nobody ever really uses them.
Right?
I only
haven't
lost
tried them.
2. Throwing them through Haliax's friend's head.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, food. So, what is the plan? You would say as he kind of stands above a half-made camp.
Well, you tell me. You said you're the one that's proficient in dealing with the animals, no?
Yes, if I can get my hands on them or get in front of them, it is finding them. I'm okay. I was never as good as my brother.
You have a brother as well.
I have yes, I do.
What is he like?
Well, depends which brother. Wilfred is young, younger than I, but he's a willful little shit. He is quite the swordsman and bowman.
So he's a proficient warrior then.
Indeed, not so very proficient in the magical arts, though.
So it seems that you all have your own innate skills of sort.
He does his best to make up for the lack of the rest. Some of us, well, many of us have trained for many years to be whom we are. But that is unimportant at the moment. Let us just move on from that topic. Uh, and he kind of begin pulling out some things. Um, so I suppose the best way is just I'm going to walk into the forest and attempt to find some tracks. I don't have the tools for anything more advanced.
Well, hopefully you have a bit of guidance along your way. And I'm gonna just cast guidance on.
Nice. Yeah, make a survival check for me if you don't mind.
Sure, yeah, he kind of wanders off into the forest. Um,
Okay, a 5, nice. At least you have a 1d4. You could roll that if you wanted
a
to.
9.
Okay, a 9, not that bad. I'd say when you were kind of like spiking that that baton into the rock, you caught just in your peripheral vision off to the side, and then like in a glance you saw it, and then did a double take and really kind of saw it. There were like claw marks along the rocks as if something had climbed over them and kept moving on past the rocks. But other than that, um, it's difficult to say how old those gouges are, and it's of course difficult to say where they went after they went over the rock because past the rock is mud that could have just gently filled back in.
Ah, great. Okay. Yeah. So not finding anything directly around here. I would return back towards the camp a little bit.
Yeah, you walked like 30 feet away and
Empty-handed.
you're like, didn't find anything.
Yeah,
Turn
I'm
around and
like,
go back.
yeah, you see me like put my hands up in disappointment. How dark is it getting now?
It's sunset, so it's still light enough to see without any need for a fire or torches or anything like that. But probably within the hour, you guys will need to have one or the other to be able to see, unless ghost light.
Gotcha. I'm gonna try to quickly find a source of water that some animals might be trying to run to before it gets too dark. And I'm looking around for like any kind of like useful place that these animals might be coming to before evening time.
Are you looking for this from kind of where you guys are setting up camp, or are you venturing into the woods a little bit more to try and look for this and just kind of like scanning left to right?
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely have to venture away from the camp a little bit. Yeah, which
Okay.
is fine. I try
Tell
to
me.
mark the trees as I go with like my sickle. You know, I do a little in the tree.
Okay. Give me a cardinal direction that you go in.
Let's go west.
West. Got it. So sort of back the way you came.
Gotcha.
You venture 50 feet, 100 feet, 150 feet, still nothing. And then all of a sudden, you see straight ahead of you what looks to be a small puddle, maybe just a little bit deeper than your ankle height, and probably as wide as if you were to lay down and like spread full eagle across the ground.
Well, that is something. He would kind of mumble to himself as he slowly approaches the area. He'd be quiet. I'm gonna go ahead and just be careful and stealth, you know, just in case. As I kind of move through the trees here, as I'm looking around.
Okay, well, you said the word, so I'm gonna have to make you roll for it. So, a 15. Okay.
That is okay.
All right. um, as you're creeping up to it, you get a little bit low, to the ground. Maybe not quite a crawl, but like a squatted sort of, movement, slowly. And you make your way up to one of the trees, and you kind of just like lean against it gently and watch that puddle for a little bit. And the sun starts to set further and further, until the sky is still bright, but you can't see the sun anymore on the horizon. And as you're considering perhaps giving up, one of those deer-like creatures comes walking up on all fours towards the puddle from the opposite side from you, so further west. It's maybe 30 feet away from the puddle by the time that you notice it. And then it moves closer and closer. And oddly enough, when it goes to drink, rather than like dipping its head down and drinking from the puddle, it instead kind of like squats down, like resting on the balls of their heels, where these like kind of paws have with claws like dig into the ground, and then supporting themselves with one outstretched arm downward, they take their other one and they reach down and like paw up some of the water and then just start like licking their paw and their nails and then like repeating that over and over as if like scooping it up to drink. Kind of like an oddly human thing to do. But they are covered in matted fur and have a deer head and antlers. So they are an animal, I could assume.
Yeah. Can I roll a I guess history or nature, just like see if I recognize what the fuck this thing is?
Sure.
All right, I'll just go for it. Oh, that's gonna be a 1, sir. It is a deer.
Man, and the funny part is that would have been a 2 if you didn't have a -1.
Yes.
That's nuts. Okay, you're not familiar with it. It's definitely not something that you've seen in the Charnal.
All right, looks like food to me. I am going to begin to mutter a few words. Yep. And I'm going to cast levitate on the creature.
Oh. That's a cool way to hunt.
Yeah, and it's going to need a Constitution saving throw, DC 14.
Here comes the natural 20. Fuck.
DC what?
14, which it makes.
It did roll a 15.
Then the spell fails.
Okay, so like it starts to lift up a little bit and then like plops back down, and like instead of now squatting down, it's standing kind of on all fours, but sort of its posture is down a little bit, like a cat getting ready to pounce, and it's like looking around itself frantically. It looks like it doesn't spot you.
Okay. Come on, Eamon, come on. And he begins to mutter the words again as he spells another fucking. And I'm gonna attempt to float this thing up over the. I got no ranged weapon here. All right.
Okay, and you do it again, and you feel like the power well up, and you're watching this thing, and slowly it kind of like extends its legs as it's trying to grip onto the ground, and then like comes up just inches above the ground to where it can't reach the ground, and it's just like flailing there in place.
Excellent. He'd kind of look around from the bush, left and right, take one last look around and make sure he's safe, and he would leave the bush, walking towards the creature. And he'd pull out his fighting chain with his hook on it.
Oh my gosh.
And he'd walk over to the creature, looking at it closer now. Like, how does it appear up close now that I'm like right up on it?
Its deer head is like near identical to any other deer's head, and it's like puffing and grunting and just letting out these animalistic noises, but there's still like this oddly human sort of joint to its arms that like its front arms look kind of like, you know, they have an elbow and a wrist, but they have like these paws where the hand should be, with these kind of like curled over dark brown claws. And its hind legs look kind of like any other animal's hind legs do, like any normal deer's legs would.
Yeah, you would just lean over to the beast. You'd put one hand, attempt to, put it on it, lay it on it, as he says, "You have served your purpose, and myself and Rylon thank you." And you would attempt to slash the throat of the thing.
Yeah, I'm not gonna make you roll for that. It's kind of in a helpless state right now, and it's still like grunting and stuff like that. And as you reach your hand out to it, it bucks your hand aside the first time with its antlers, and then the second time you're like able to rest your hand on it and can't quite reach you. But it's definitely still trying to hit you, and then you take that hook from your fighting chain and just like drag it right across the creature's neck, and all of a sudden this fountain of warm red blood is just like pouring down its neck and like dripping onto the ground and kind of like coalescing into the puddle that it was drinking from. And it's not long before it dies, letting out its last kind of couple twitches.
I would kind of turn it upside down there, still floating in the air, as I kind of tap it slightly, and the whole body just kind of turns upside down. And I begin walking back to the camp. It lasts 10 minutes, so I'm just going to bring it back to the camp upside down.
Right, this is real grim. Okay, and you walk it back. It was 150 feet to get out there. It's 150 feet back. And Rylon, you see Eamon kind of like stepping back from the woods. I don't know what you're doing while he's gone hunting. Mind to fill us in on that?
I guess Rylon would just be setting up a bit of the camp. I guess like setting up the fire pit, stuff like that. Just getting it prepared for the night. Just kind of looking around the area, making sure that there's no like other creatures lurking about or anything or anyone, to be exact, especially after he said that he saw that weird creature in the trees.
Yeah.
And after that's all said and done, I would kind of kneel down on my knees, kind of close my eyes, and just kind of wait and see perhaps if I can get a return message from Gabriel. And hopefully it happens. And whether it does or it doesn't, I still wait for it until Eamon comes back.
The message does not return. Perhaps, something has happened to them. And while that thought kind of sets into your mind, and whether or not you dismiss it, Eamon does come out from the woods to the west and dragging along with him this upside down, levitating corpse of this deer sort of creature.
Now, is it like leaking blood, like a trail from where he found it?
Yeah, definitely still.
Okay, I have found dinner.
My eyes open. I open one eye as I look, and I see Eamon with a floating carcass.
This was not easy to find, so I hope you can cook.
Well, it was not easy to find, but wherever you found it, it'll be easy to find us. You left yourself a trail.
You'd kind of glance back, only realizing now. Ah. Like I said, I'm not a hunter. I usually have my food cooked.
That's
It don't
awesome.
matter. It is, and Rylon's stomach would kind of... Well, I'm not gonna be the one to complain, so let's get to the butching, eh?
Indeed. He'd kind of wave his hand a little bit, and then thing would float over to camp. Plop! In the middle of camp. It does have some strange parts, though, so be aware.
Inspect over the creature.
Mm-hmm.
Give me your hands.
You kind of catch all the details that I mentioned before, where it's got these animal hind legs, but these kind of oddly human sort of front legs and rather than hooves like any normal deer would have, it has these like paws with claws, but it has a deer's head and deer antlers and thick matted fur, kind of much like a goat that hasn't been taken very good care of.
Well, hopefully it tastes like chicken. I'm sure once it's crisped up, it won't make a difference. So I guess I take kind of hold my hand over towards the fire pit that I've made, and I'll just cast kind of firebolt on it to kind of get it sparked up.
Okay. And you conjure up that flame and just kind of like flick it right onto the fire, and it's a small one. It's not like you're summoning a whole firebolt and just like blowing up your fire with it. But like it it catches one of the pieces of kindling, and soon enough, like starts to spread. And before you know it, you have a small column of smoke rising from this damp wood, like smoke and steam. And it takes a little bit for it to dry out, probably like 30 minutes for the wood to be dried out enough for it to be like a healthy fire. But once it is, uh, you're able to cook. And I don't know, have you learned anything from Halifax about cooking, or is it just you cook it and you eat it?
Let's find out. I'm going to roll an intelligence check.
Sweet.
Nope.
Okay, yeah. You never
Natural
paid
one.
attention when Halifax is cooking.
Yeah, I've always expected it, so I sleep a little extra in the mornings. And
Yeah, in fact, that's actually true. Like, you were always the last one to wake up. That's awesome.
I certainly
and-
pretend like I know what I'm doing, though.
Yeah, you like grab some like dirt from off the side, just like sprinkle it on it very delicately.
Ah,
I'm
It's
kidding.
the flavor of the earth. It needs a proper seasoning.
But yeah, you guys are able to eat it. Continue, please.
they're munching the thing off the bone. It's all right. Not quite Halifax, so.
No, but it'll do. It'll do.
Didn't he leave you his spices and such?
No, he did not. But he left me his hat, though. And I would take out of my bag the classic Ostoyan hat and kind of gently place it on my head for like just a
Yeah.
moment. And I feel very awkward and uncomfortable, so I immediately take it off and put it back in my bag. But he also
Yeah,
left me
doesn't-
this. And I reach into my bag and I pull out the card that he had with the names on it. And I would hand it over towards Eamon.
And
Besides
shout
the
over
top, besides the top two, does that name in the middle mean anything to you?
Look at the name. What's the name in the middle?
Knox. So there's a bunch of names that are. I'll just send it to you, but it's a bunch of names that are scribbled out, and we got it off that vampire guy that we killed the other day.
Right.
And I will post it in the chat.
Yeah, on one side of it, as you're like flipping the card over, you do see that the other side looks like this. I don't know if Kuda sent it to you guys.
Yeah, I got that one too.
So it's got like this weird kind of like crescent moon with a snake kind of squirming through it, and a single like all black eye with just a red iris and like blood coming down from it over top of the crescent moon. And then on the first side, you read the names Halifax Stazriel, which you guys do know him. And then there are a couple names scratched out, and then there's Knox, and then a couple more names scratched out. But it doesn't specify what the details are, like whether this is a hit list or just a find and retrieve or what. You do know, however, Rylon, and maybe he might have mentioned this to Eamon, I don't remember, but it was brought up that that vampire that you guys encountered in Grabenstein was saying that Halifax was like the Lich wanted him back and that the Lich wasn't done with him. But when you guys met the Lich, he didn't like outright kill Halifax or anything like that.
It wasn't even brought up, right?
Yeah, I don't believe that Halifax or you guys or the Lich had brought it up at all.
Interesting. Does it mean anything to you?
No, unfortunately not. But I'm no master of lore. I think the best thing, he turns the card back over to the backside, is that we figure out this symbol, no? Probably means something, or some organization, or god, or...
Well, my assumption is that it means that it is part of the Bloody Eyes, which was this guild that Halifax used to be a part of, that a bloodsucker was in charge of. So that is my guess.
Oh, right. Sorry. I did not know as much about Halifax. So, is this guild still active?
I would assume so. I believe one of them tried to kill Halifax back in Gravenstein. So, which is why he was a bit concerned about going back to Nova Ostoya. But if they have his name on this card, and if my assumption is correct, and this is a part of the Bloody Eyes, then they are certainly most active.
Well, hopefully they are feeling a little bit bad about the new daytime.
That
I
very
hope
much
they
is true.
enjoy that.
And well, our names aren't on this list, so we're perfectly safe, right?
Indeed, there is no possible chance that they associate us with Halifax. No way.
Right.
Okay, so who gets the honor of first watch tonight as he takes another bite out of the food?
Shall we boulder parchment shears?
Ah, I hate that. How about we flip a coin? He pulls out a Trinal Kingdom currency coin.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, whatever makes you happy. I'll do heads.
Okay. And he flips the coin.
Heads is 1 to his tails. And heads it was.
Looks like you have the first watch. Good luck.
Right. Fantastic. I miss having a third person already.
Oh yes, it's going to make things rather difficult, huh?
Indeed.
Yeah.
And you should be watching me while I'm watching you, because who knows when I might. He like wiggles his fingers at you. You know, like.
Well, should we both stay up then?
No. I should be fine. Okay,
Should be.
unless something goes wrong, right? Something strange. Should be good. He gives you a
Well,
smile.
do you feel strange? I kind of take a step back.
Well, I don't know. I can reconstruct my arms into strange shapes, so I would say I do feel strange, but the question is, how strange do I feel? Kind of sitting there, like, looking at his own arms, like,
And meanwhile, your like hand is still just gray from the wrist up and has no feeling, and so you can't move the fingers or anything like that.
right.
Well, I trust you. I'm gonna go to bed. And
Okay, buddy.
I roll out my blanket in my bedroll and soundly sleep as far away from Eamon as possible.
Okay, which doesn't leave much space. If he stays within the crescent, it's like a matter of you being about 15 feet away from him, and you being pressed up right against the wall, like underneath the horses.
Works for me.
Okay. And so then you fall asleep, and that means that Eamon, you have the first watch, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I found myself a quiet little, like, cozy place to sit in. You know, and I'd sit back and put my weapon in my hands and just watch quietly.
Yeah, and by the time that that you guys were done eating and had started discussing who would take the first watch, the sun was already, well beneath the rotation of the world, and it was dark, and the only light is now the fire, and the fire had sprouted some smoke, and it's still kind of like gently burning. Do you like ever add any more wood to it, or do you just kind of let it sizzle out?
Do I generally know that it's safer to sleep with a fire around you or without a fire around you? Here.
Well, you would probably know that it's kind of a trade-off. So you have
Right.
on one side anything that is very sensitive to light, i.e., now that you know shadow stealers and they were hiding from the light earlier, this could be a good thing. But on the other hand, you have the concern of it being a beacon to draw in other creatures.
Yeah, he put another damn log in the fire, letting out a few curses in Elvish.
Okay. Rylon, as you drift off to sleep, your thoughts are, I would imagine, kind of like about all the events that have been happening the last in the last day to probably you haven't gotten a message back to your friends. Maybe that's something else that you're thinking of. Is that kind of right to assume?
Yes.
Okay. Then as you make your way into your dreams, you have a very distinct dream. You find yourself standing in tall grass in the valley between a couple rolling hills. Um, there's a gentle breeze that carries lightly on the wind, bringing with it ripples like waves across the tall grass that shift side to side, and the tall grass comes almost up to your knees. You hear the sounds of what you can assume is marching. It's a wonder that you didn't hear it before, actually, now that you think about it. And the ground rumbles with each synchronized step. And on the hill to your left, an army crests. Among the numbers are Northmen wrapped in chainmail and furs over their shoulders, and soldiers from the Burak Empire wielding, two swords, one in each hand. Uh, Men from each of the 4 provinces to the west. And shrieking and yapping in the air with knights atop them are griffins as well. And it's like late day, not quite sunset, and the sky is kind of patchy with clouds. And then you notice that at the front of that army, which is cresting this hill like maybe 400 feet away from you, you spot Gabriel and Reuben and Kuril.
Karil?
Yeah, Kuril. Do you do anything?
Do I do anything? Do I have control of myself?
Yeah. I'd say there might other things might happen, of course, but I would say that you do have control of yourself. You find yourself standing here 400 feet away from this hill down the bottom of this kind of valley. The elevation difference is maybe about 40 or 50 feet. So you kind of have to look up just a little bit in the distance, but not too much.
Is there, on the opposing side of me, so on my backside, is there anything behind me?
Well, you see um, another hill. And as you look over towards it, it catches the corner of your eye first. But then an army emerges from over that hill and crests the top of that one. It's an army of the shambling undead, and they don't step in unison, so it's kind of just like a muddy goulash of footsteps. There are skeletons bearing swords, giant bats, vampires on undead steeds. It's a grim sight, but you feel an odd sense of calm when you spot the Lich and Seamus at the army's head.
Uh, I guess that's an awkward position to be in. I'm going to. Do I have the ability to let out my wings?
I would say so.
Okay. So I guess my my long white bladed wings kind of shoot out from my back, um, giving off a small radiance of light, and looking in both directions, a bit confused as to what is happening and what's going on, but uh, would be lying if I said I wasn't a bit happy to see Gabriel and Ruben again. So I, after a small hesitation, make my way in their direction.
Okay. And the flight is short. It's much easier with wings. You make your way up and cross over towards them. And you like hover above them, or do you land, or tell me about that.
Oh, I land right in front of them.
They look at you as if staring right through you.
It's about time you showed up. How was your adventures in Cindergast? Did you find what you were looking for, besides the large amount of army that stands behind you? Gabriel?
Gabriel says nothing in response, and you see Reuben turn to Kuril. Are they ready? And Kuril, there's a few of them that are lacking a bit behind, but the rest should be here soon. They seem to be having a conversation about something that they had prepared. But it's not quite clear. They haven't described it in detail or anything.
I kind of wave my Gabriel's face. Hello? Kind of like rubbing his bald head. Gabriel.
And he's standing there in that like charnel plate, the sort of gunmetal colored dark gray steel with the kind of like brassy gold trim at the edges of it, and he's got his white cloak around his collarbones and down behind his back, and no helmet as always, as is his way, and his claymore in the sheath on his back, and he looks at you, and he looks at Reuben, and then looks back at you, still kind of staring right through you. And he takes a deep breath and lets it out as a sigh.
Like a sigh of acknowledgement of me there, or a sigh of just preparing for the battle?
A sigh of preparing for the battle.
Can I make an insight check?
Yeah.
And see exactly if this is just some sort of fever dream or if this is a premonition. Natural 1.
It's tough to judge. It's, you know how sometimes when you're in a dream and you can't tell if it's real or not, you like think it's real life for a moment, but then you wake up and you're like, oh man. It's hard to tell what it is, and you're not really thinking about it in the moment, I suppose. And then a figure steps up beside you that you hadn't heard. You can see Grabenstein from here. The figure points towards the mountains behind the human army, and through the fog, they're only just visible the Grey Spine Mountains to the west.
Is he talking to me?
I don't know.
I look towards the figure. Who is the mysterious person?
You see that the man standing beside you is about 7 feet tall, with
Jesus.
long, dark gray hair and a shortly trimmed salt and pepper beard. And on his shoulders rest 2 pauldrons of an origin that you've not seen before. They're elegant in a way, but clearly meant for purpose. And that purpose being, of course, defense and fighting. Other than his brown robe, these 2 pauldrons are the only attire that he seems to be wearing, and you look down at his feet to see that they're bare. He does not fit the scene, and he's definitely not talking to Gabriel or Reuben or the rest of the army. He is talking to you. And he's pointing still to the mountains to the west.
And who in the hells are you? Are you one of Gabriel's friends that you've met in his adventures in the north?
He seems familiar. And he continues speaking. When the time comes, you'll have to choose if you're still alive when that time comes.
Choose what? I don't understand.
He looks at you and glances across the army of humans, his eyes settling on Gabriel and Reuben and Kirill each for a moment, and then looks across to the valley and the other army where you see Seamus and the Lich discussing something. He says nothing.
Well, your riddles are something, but I'll tell you what. There is no choice, for I've already chosen what I'm going to do. If you think for an instant that I would even consider siding with that undead Lich, then you're sadly mistaken. And,
It's nice to see you like this. I always wish that I would have a chance to meet you.
Right, but who are you?
His eyes meet with yours, and they have that same sort of yellowish glow to them. It takes much of my energy to be here. But I am not dead. No, I am not.
I
See,
size them up and down.
and as you size him up and down, how tall are you?
Like 5'10", 5'11".
Yeah, so you do have to look up a little bit. He continues on. Basketeer thinks himself a god. He is a creation of the Aether, but so too are you and all other living beings. He is not the spark himself. He, along with the rest of his kindred, are imprisoned in the Aether, not the rulers of it, and they seek a way out.
Are you suggesting through that they're using Halifax?
I'm not sure what to expect of them. I cannot get in the mind of that which I do not understand, but I can get in the mind of you.
Kind of itch my head for a second. Are you Telstar?
Are you the blood of my son? And he looks at you with kind of fond eyes. He knows the answer to his question.
Would I know the answer to that question?
It was briefly touched on by High Faithful Latiaga back in Fallowheart that you were the lineage of the third son of Talstar, actually. Or maybe it was the druid that had mentioned it. I believe it was the druid.
I believe so.
I hope that you are alive to see this moment when it does come.
As am I. But you, how are you here? You said your powers are straining to be here. Where are you?
I
Thought
am
you
there.
were dead.
I am there with Foscatura. The
Fos-
powers of a god do not span only to one's dimension. He is greedy. Creation itself saw that he was not fit to walk amongst men and mortal creatures. And in some ways he lies. The gods are dead. That is true. The gods of the West died slaying themselves in combat, but not by the Aether's hand. Only some of the more distant gods have fallen to the Aether, and only by numbers, which Foscatur does have. The Aether is vast, and the Aether kindred claim space for themselves, but rule over gaps of nothingness, and rule an army of no one. They're surrounded by one another, but alone in their own right. They are not to be trusted, as they can't even trust their own kind.
Well, I can assure you that we have no intentions of trusting Faskatil, or whatever his name may be. It is not important. But he does have my friend, so that makes it different. If you are still alive, or somewhere, how do we free you? You're one of the few that are left. We need you here. The people, they need you.
You're not alone. The two of you are not alone. You need to go.
What?
And suddenly, you are drawn from your dream and find yourself in the light of the fire. There, you see Eamon is still watching. And what woke you sounded like the break or snap of a thick twig in the darkness. And, the darkness may have pulled from Ostoya, but that doesn't mean that the nighttime doesn't still exist. And so, outside of the light of the fire, you hear steady steps coming towards you.
I guess in the anxiety of that dream, I immediately shoot up from my sleeping position, and my wings would immediately like just in complete being complete upset and kind of distraught about what's going on, and kind of look immediately in the direction of where the sound come from.
I jumped to my feet.
There's someone coming.
Oh, great! It was almost your turn.
I try to be serious, but there is a slight smirk.
Yeah, he's just sitting there like twirling his thing, like, oh, okay, let's get this over with. Come on out.
And stepping into the edge of the fire's light, Nezzy, could you please describe your character?
Let's go! Let's go!
Yeah, so this character is an elf, but looks strange. Very, very strange. From what you can see, there is a rather nice looking sword that whoever this is side. Some rather faded looking studded leather armor. But the thing that stands out the most is the face of this individual. It's like your eyes are out of focus. It's like blood. It's strange. It's not like something you would have seen before. Everything else is fine. Everything else is in focus, completely pristine, but the face is completely gray. The left hand of this individual is exactly the same, as is the hair, the neck. The right hand is not like this. Regular in color, completely opaque, just normal. The left is it's almost transparent in a way. It's ghostly. And any facial expression this individual holds is kind of difficult to decipher. It is a strange sight.
Seeing the individual come towards our camp already in an alerted stance, I stand up and immediately kind of point my finger at you like a gun, almost in a gun-like position. And a small beam of like bluish kind of yellowy radiant energy kind of formulates at the fingertip, or the end of the gun would be the barrel. I say, "Who are you? Are you one of the Lich's undead creatures? Because you've stumbled upon the wrong camp."
The what now?
The Lich, he'd call out from the ground.
This strange elf would kind of look around himself as if, when you say, like, are you talking to me kind of thing? And you look around, it's like that. I don't see any lich here.
It'd be like, and the chain would slow down. He kind of just stands up awkwardly, like, are you undead?
Do I look undead?
Yes.
I don't know exactly how you look.
The individual looks down at themselves. I don't think I'm undead.
Do you mind if I check?
Check how?
I could check in my own way. It would prevent us from being worried about you and prevent me from, being worried about.
Well, how about you explain the way in which you're going to check if I'm undead or not?
Okay. Well, I'm going to cast a spell.
A spell? What spell?
Yes. Detect evil.
Oh,
And good.
go ahead.
Okay.
There's
Well-
no need, Eamon. I know this creature is evil. We should destroy it before we go back to sleep.
Well, gave me permission to cast my own spell, so I'm not too sure.
You do see a spell book dangling down from this individual's waist.
Oh.
Oh my god, he's an agent of the Raven Court. He's come for you, Eamon.
Ooh, we take a step back a little bit.
Of the Raven Court, I'm not wealthy or brilliant enough to get into that.
Okay, so were you drawn here by the fire, or is there a particular reason you're here?
By the fire, yes. Rather inquisitive. I suppose it's odd to me to see people camping out here, just with a fire, no real protection. That's strange, isn't it?
Well, we have what protection we can, and as you can see today, the daytime has been quite different than normal.
Yes. Do you know why that is?
Glance at Rylon.
See, I've got this. I sort of reach towards a pocket. My hand remains in the pocket. I'll give you a chance to stop me if you want to.
My other hand rises up, and now there's another finger gun motion with another beam of radiant energy kind of formulating at the barrel tip. Hold your horses there, friend.
It's a compass.
What are you reaching for?
A compass.
Don't make any sudden movements.
Uh,
Slowly take the compass from your pocket.
The individual takes the compass from within their pocket and sort of holds it out. It's very worn. It's almost impossible to see which direction the needle is pointing in. This guy shakes it a little bit. It's difficult to navigate. It was harder under the darkness, but he kind of points up.
Yes, much nicer now.
Yes, well, night still falls, so
At least things are hopeful for the daytime. At least the daytime is coming.
I suppose
So-
it is.
So you are generally friendly. Rylon, you said you knew this thing was dangerous and evil?
Yeah, of course. I say.
He kind of
very
like squints up at you.
I mean, look at him. You could barely see his face. Perhaps he's a wraith or some sort of specter.
No, this is just a simple affliction.
Oh, great. More afflictions. What's your name?
Ilfharyn?
Ilfharyn. Well, you're a little bit far from home, Ilfharyn.
That I am, yes.
So what are you doing here?
Right now, looking for a place to sleep for the night. It just so happened that I stumbled across a fire. I was going to offer to, help you out, but seems you're a little hostile.
Well, more of trying to be safe.
Yes, well, there are better ways to remain safe.
You have to understand it's dangerous times out here in Ostoya, and the sudden change in the light makes things even worse. So forgive my sense of hostilities.
Okay, no problem. I stick the compass back into my pocket. May I approach?
I lower one of my finger guns. Yes, you can.
let out a sigh and then kind of like chain his like roll his chain back up and put it on his waistband.
Ilfharyn approaches. The out of focus effect doesn't get any better. It is still completely blood.
I'm just constantly trying to squint at you, trying to focus my eyes.
You see that as he's stepping forward, one of these small like fist-sized creatures that Eamon was in the tree earlier zips past, followed by another one maybe a second or two later.
Tell me those are yours?
No,
Ah.
not mine.
Rylon?
Hmm.
That is the thing I was referring to.
He points to the thing is just like flying away. I assume it's zipped by.
Yeah, it zipped away,
Pointed in the direction it went.
which was towards the west.
Interesting.
Ah, shit.
Then another small swarm of them fly by, maybe 7 or 10. Just zip, 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 zip.
Uh-oh.
They fly by about 30 feet above the ground level. And then, out of your sight in the darkness, you hear more zip by, like maybe anywhere between 30 and 50 of them. And it's like almost like a buzzing sound as you hear them kind of like all flapping and like zipping by like at fairly quick speed.
I noticed the sudden buildup of these creatures. And I look towards Ilfharyn. You said that you could make this camp safer, did you not?
I did, yes, but it's going to take well, exactly 1 minute.
Okay, well, let's get that rolling then. As he like, looks around, all the shapes flying.
And do you think that we might have longer, or
We could.
I'm talking more like 10 minutes.
We
No.
might not.
Okay, it's fine. I take my spellbook from my waist, open it, and I will spend the next 1 minute, unless they attack, I guess, attempting to cast a spell. And that spell will be Lemon's Tiny Hut.
And
Alright.
sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just commenting at it, Kurt. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Okay. You see that as he's casting this, less of them kind of come by, but they still do, like in groups of 2s and 3s and 6s. It's like zip, 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 zip. And when it comes to about 50 seconds of him casting this, it really starts to pick up, and there are 30 at a time, and then like 50 at a time, and then all of a sudden, nearing like the crescendo of his ritual, about the time that it would cast, there's hundreds of them flying by in this like cloud, almost the swarm, and you can hear them, but you can't quite see them, and it's almost deafening how loud they are, like so many of them together.
How much longer on that spell?
You are ignored. Ilfharyn is speaking the spell out. He can't really respond. He just looks at you.
What does it sound like? What's the spell?
What, you want me to say the spell?
Enchanted for us.
It's just a bunch of fucking words, dude.
Okay.
How close are the horses to us?
How large is Lemon's tiny hut again?
It is 10 feet, but large creatures cannot fit in it.
Okay, well, the horses are right up against the rock, and so when this hut forms, like if it's forming in the center of this kind of half crescent, then the horses will have just enough space between the hut and the wall to just kind of like hang out there. They seem a little bit spooked though, for sure, with the massive buzzing above you guys.
Well, I believe it.
Does the spell go off? Or does it cast?
Yeah, it does. Just like 3, 2, 1, and like it's still like buzz, 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 and then all of a sudden, it's done, and you finish chanting, and what do you do then?
I allow my spellbook to fall, sort of dangles on a little string down onto my waist. And then I look between the pair of them. I could attempt to help the horses.
How?
An illusion?
It would be much appreciated if you could. We prefer them not to be eaten by. He kind of waves his hand up above him.
Mm-hmm. We're right up against rocks, right?
Yeah. So once again, the sort of rocky structure that you're by, if you're casting it in the middle of this like half circle crescent, the edges of the Lehman's tiny hut will be 5 feet approximately from the rocky structure
Gotcha. Okay.
on all sides.
Okay. I'm looking to cast Silent Image here, so that's a 15-foot cube. I'm going to try and kind of like imagine like a hollow rock face. So from the outside, it's going to look like a rock. Obviously, they can do a check and see if it's fake. But from the inside, I don't know if we would be able to see out, or. But
I would assume you'd be able to see out.
It would just be intended to be a visual barrier between these flying, whatever they are, and the horses, and the dome by extension.
Okay. And how long does that take to cast?
One action lasts for 10 minutes. It has to be constructed.
So then you cast it, and it doesn't really look like much has changed, except there's like a slight tint around the air, kind of surrounding you guys. But you see in the fire's light these little like fist-sized kind of like bats, but not like a lot more menacing than bats. They start weaving over this this extension of the rock face, not like thinking to stop and look at it or anything like that. They're probably not sentient enough to understand that this has just popped out of nowhere. Then what?
Then I rest myself on the floor. I sit down.
Okay. Well, I think that was extremely useful.
Spells normally are.
After seeing Ilfharyn complete his ritual and cast another spell to further protect our camp, Rylon will ease up and holster his finger gun. Looking at the blurred man. You're quite proficient in the arcane.
You could say that, yes.
You're probably the first one I've met, and probably since I've started my journey here.
The first, mage?
Yes. Well, I've met plenty of clerics, but you're the first mage.
I kind of motion to Eamon. Is he not skilled in the arcane?
I look towards him.
Kind of gives you a coy smile. I have some natural prowess. Nothing too learned. Raw power. Not something I've practiced for many years.
And what about your own? I kind of finger gun you back, and
Whoa.
at the tip of my finger there's a little flame.
Well, let's just say that I'm more in the same boat as my friend here. A bit of a natural power.
Oh, natural. That's interesting.
Yes, I've never had to stay my hand in the books like you probably had. And I kind of motion towards the book at your side.
Oh, certainly.
Luckily for myself, it's something that I've had since the day I was born.
So you just, I kind of narrow my eyes at you. It seems like he was gonna say something, but he's unsure if you were even born now, considering the you do have those wings on your back, right?
Yes, my wings are still out technically.
Okay. Actually, let's just go through something real quick. What do you guys look like?
Ah, good point. Eamon, would you like to go first?
Sure. He's a pretty slim guy. He's got slightly muscular build. He stands about 5 feet 9 inches. He's got a straight back and proud demeanor, and is usually seen wearing his tight-fitting navy blue vest with a white collared shirt on the inside that's got some like silver stitching and stuff like that. He's got a yellow coat of arms embroidered on his chest, and a silver chain that hangs around his neck. He's got a really neatly trimmed mustache, some bright green eyes, a long black hair with some silver hairs mixed in there that kind of form like a witch's hairline back. He's got some hollow cheeks, thin eyebrows, and overall looks somewhat like a human nobleman.
Okay, fair enough.
All right. My character looks. He's got like naturally kind of pink skin. He stands like palish pink skin. You can't tell if it's pale because of him being native of Ostoya, or what you can probably surmise is from other reasons based on the wings that are at his back. He stands, roughly average height. He's got kind of long, not long, but like about right above the back of the neck. Slick black hair with and a well-kept beard that kind of rises up to the bottom of his lower lip. All black hair and beard, all including with streaks of platinum in them. Now that he's kind of in a very startled state, his eyes kind of glow with a hue of radiance to them, as he's also wearing what appears to be full plate armor, all black. With kind of interesting kind of old Victorian kind of spikings on them, and a reddish symbol along the waistline of what you would believe to be of Ostoya. Also a kind of red sash, almost like a belt that kind of dangles behind him, and such. And at his side is a very pristine-looking sword. But besides that, he has nothing else on his person.
Okay, sure. Thank you. I'll continue with what I was going to say. Ilfharyn says he kind of stops himself in the middle of a sentence and kind of forks a brow. You were born, weren't you?
Of course, I was born.
Well, what's with the kind of motions to the wings and the eyes?
Well, if it wasn't obvious, then I'm a seraph. The seraph of Solima.
Right. Interesting.
The timetables are a bit fuzzy, but yes, I was born. Can I say the same for you?
Was I born? Yes.
Right.
Yes, not like this. But
Oh. You
So,
did
like,
mention the
cursed?
affliction. Yes, it's
no,
a curse.
I don't know, to be honest. It's a strange ordeal. I just know that I was gone for some time. By some time, I mean, 150 years this year.
Hold on.
Well, a
Where
little
are
bit
you
less than that,
from?
actually.
Oh.
It would have been about 147.
Oh, yes, to be exact. Where are you from, Ilfharyn?
I'm from Tolleimil.
Till what?
Tolleimil? Tol
You good?
Tolem. I'm from Tolem
I look
in
towards
Channel.
Eamon. Oh. Shall not as well.
The Castellanian province, right?
No, in Channel.
You would know that Tol'amel is the
Oh,
the
Tolan.
last elven city, like northwestern part of Charnal. Pretty much the farthest it gets from the Castanelan province.
Yes, I was reading. I thought you said Toltum. Right. Indeed. I am from somewhere near yourself as well. The Bonosau village is somewhat near my family calls home.
Mm-hmm. Yes, just to the south. Yes.
Indeed.
You guys are neighbors. How quaint.
Mm.
But you said you're from the past, did you not? What do you mean by that?
Not so much from the past. No. That's a. I don't really want to get caught up in the semantics of it, so let's just say I went somewhere for a long time, and for most of that time, I was nowhere at all.
And meanwhile, while you guys are talking about this, these little like fist-sized creatures that they're like a jet black, by the way, are just still darting over you guys in like a pretty large amount, but near kind of where the conversation is now, it's sort of trickled off into very few, and then all of a sudden you hear like a very deep, bassy like, and then like a whoosh of air as something starts sailing kind of through the air past you guys, above you, maybe 50, 60 feet. And with your fire's light, you can only see the underside of it. But as you're looking up at the underside of it, it keeps going for like 20, 30, 40, 60, 80, 100, 150 feet long, this like serpent-like stomach through the air.
Which direction does it seem to be heading in, west or east?
Towards the west, behind all the other little creatures, and it has like these jet black scales that have this sort of pearlescent rainbow kind of tint to them that only shows up in the firelight.
Do I have any idea what that creature is?
I don't think so.
Okay. Is it, Jesus. Well, whatever that is, it's probably best that it is leaving not in our direction.
Do you think that they came from? He looks at you, Rylon. Moves his arm forwards a little bit. Thing. The pillar.
The pillar.
The obelisk.
Yes, I gathered. I'm just trying to think. I don't know. Who's to say? I've never seen anything like that before. Neither of those creatures.
And
You guys weren't able to see like the head or wings or anything like that, but for a better image in your head, I would like to post the kind of image of the creature in D&D General 2A if you look there.
Lord, what in the hell is
You
that?
pretty much only saw the underside of it, just a reminder. But it spanned for 150 feet.
I look towards Ilfharyn. Tell me, old man, do you know what that is?
Old?
Well, you said that you were around at least 147 years ago, did you not? That's rather old.
I mean, yes, that was the time I was gone. That's not my age.
And how old are you?
235.
Well, that is rather old. But to be fair, I'm not one to talk. I'm also about 100 and something years old myself.
But it's not old for an elf.
What about you, Eamon? You at least 300?
No. He would like awkwardly scratch the back of his neck.
Well, go on. How old? We've both said our ages.
Yes, quite a bit younger than you.
Okay, well, what's the number?
42.
What? Speak up.
Oh. As 42.
42.
Mhm.
Indeed.
Well, you're just a youngster.
Quite.
Depends on exactly how you brand a youngster.
I mean, for a human, it's not too young.
How they
Ah,
call that middle age then.
indeed. But that is the way of humanity, no?
Yes, perhaps,
Short.
300, 400 in elf years?
I'm sorry, excuse me? I misunderstood what you said.
If you were to translate your age, you're about middle-aged, yes?
Yes.
Then this would be about 300 to 400 in elfin years.
Yes, it is quite strange.
Hmm.
But that is the way the world was made.
Yes, short lives the humans have.
Quite.
Continue scratching. Yeah.
Either way. So tell us, Ilfharyn, sorry. Where are you headed?
Not Ostoya.
Oh, great. So are we. And my wings would retract back into my back. It would sound very painful, and as the bones of the wings would crack and kind of snap into place as they would very unelegantly go back into my back.
Yeah, like a single feather just like gently drifts to the ground, landing left side of your left foot.
Do you mind if I kind of point to the feather?
You're not going to cast a curse on me, are you?
A curse? No, I'm going to keep it.
Insight check.
Okay.
16. Are you going to curse me, Nezzy?
No.
Alright. I
If I was going to speak for like 10 more seconds, I would have just told you the truth.
Yeah, Jimmy loves his insights.
Yeah.
I reach down on the ground and I pick up the feather and kind of give it a little bit of a stroke and hand it your way.
Appreciate it. Ilfharyn takes the feather and puts it in a little pouch.
So, to Nova Ostoya you go, huh?
Mm-hmm. What brings you this way? Anything interesting?
I look towards Eamon.
Yes, I am on a mission for a certain Charnalt Kingdom Lord, but it brings me to Nova Ostoya, yes. And Rylon here was his friend, who met an unfortunate end in our recent travels.
Unfortunate end.
Well, a unfortunate pause, as it were. We don't know what happened to him, but he is moved on
Moved on.
to something different than here. And he kind of waves his hand around this place.
Is it the Grey Hand?
It is actually, and yeah, the fingers don't move, and it's very dull looking.
It's like Jamie Lannister with his gold hand.
Yeah.
It's like completely solid and he just waves his arm around.
Ilfharyn kind of nods at the hand. Looks a little familiar, don't you think?
Do you think that? He kind of like looks at his hand, looks at you. Is it the same kind of gray?
I mean, they're both gray, but it's a different kind of thing. Like you can focus on it. That's the most important part, I guess.
At least I can see my hand, but I can't use it much.
Hmm. Can't use it.
Much.
Hmm.
Mr. Rylon here was helping me with it earlier, but I assumed we would start again tomorrow.
Hmm. Yes. Well, I was thinking something, but considering you can't move it, I don't think it's accurate. Or you
Here,
can. but
attempt
it's
to move
limited.
his fingers again.
No luck.
Or maybe you can't. Hmm.
Just this one. The other one's fine. He wiggles his fingers. You shoot again.
I reach down on my spellbook, open it, start flicking through it.
By the way, you may have mentioned this, Nazi, but does Ilfharyn have like a satchel or a backpack?
Yes, he does. I didn't mention it. There's a lot of things on his backpack. This guy is pretty heavily bogged down by equipment.
Okay.
There's a blanket on the top of it. There's a walking stick attached to it. There's a bedroll. Probably a whole bunch of stuff inside it. Looking at the size of it, a rope on the side, water skin, kind of a whole bunch of stuff. He looks like a traveler, you know. Hmm.
Indeed.
Kind of look up from the spell book at the hand. Look down to the spell book. Hmm.
Kind of
Do you
cross
think it
my
was
arms.
you think it was a spell? That's did I kind of
This?
nod.
No. I think that I stuck my hand somewhere I shouldn't have been. It was unfortunate.
Hmm. That does sound a bit more familiar. Probably not the same thing.
It was a place where some things. Well, more of a place where everything comes from.
Everything comes from
It was a void.
void. That
Not
is
the city of
interesting.
void, but a void.
Hmm.
A very
Closes the
dark
book.
and powerful void.
Yes,
Nothing
I probably don't have anything for it, unfortunately.
Unfortunate. Rylon, before I head to sleep tonight, have you exhausted what you can for today? For is this?
I look at your hand and think to myself. Let me see. And I'm just going to cast, probably thinking that this might not work, but I'm going to do it anyways. Considering we're going to long rest soon, I will cast Lesser Restoration on your hand, followed up with another Cure Wounds. It's 1 HP.
Okay. As you cast these, I'm gonna kind of flavor it a little bit.
Actually,
They cast, and one sort of like the lesser restoration kind of gently crosses from your hand over to his like wrist and hand, with the cure wounds sort of like swirling around it like a spiral around it, or a helix, I should say. And as it flows into his hand, you see like the color gently ripple up, kind of like an edge of like a spark running up something, and it just fills in his hand with color again, up to about halfway up the back of his hand, and you see his thumb gains color back, and all of a sudden, Eamon, you can feel your thumb again. and you can move it.
Does it hurt or anything? Does it just feel completely normal again?
It feels completely normal, but you still can't move your fingers, and like where the back knuckles of your fingers are, like the one closest to the back of your hand. That's kind of like where the cutoff line is, where it goes back to being gray.
Gotcha. He kind of wiggles thumb a little bit and be like, ah, good progress. Thank you, Rylon.
This is good. You've now gained the ability that separates yourself from the beasts of the woods. Your opposable thumb.
Indeed. Now let me go and do the thing all beasts must do and fucking sleep. And he walks off to like one small corner of this bubble. It was a pleasure meeting you. And he fucking slams on the ground, goes into his bed.
Yes, it's probably wise we all get some sleep. I think we'll be safe in here.
Squint my eyes at you. You'd like that, wouldn't you?
I would like to sleep, yes.
Right.
However, if you wish to maintain a watch over the horses, you can be my guest.
No, I would much rather go to sleep. We were quite worried that one of us was going to have to stay up all night, but I kind of look around at the room. How long does this stay up for?
8 hours.
And does it protect us, or is it just like an illusion, or what?
It is completely opaque from the outside. And in here, as you can feel the air, warmth, light, anything you could desire. But nothing will get through unless they dispel the magic.
Very well. Then, if you don't mind, I will too be heading to bed.
I nod my head, and then I say, "Dark," and the interior of the hut darkens, like a light bulb switching off.
Oh,
Now
thank God.
only the fire in the middle is the light now.
Got it.
And Rylon lays down in his bed corner and kind of puts his back against the rest of the party and faces the dome, I guess the barrier of the dome, and goes to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Ilfharyn puts his backpack down, takes out a bedroll, puts it down, lays on the bedroll, takes a rather worn-looking blanket off of the backpack, and covers himself with it. Plus, he takes off his armor, and that's how he sleeps.
Okay. And Eamon, do you do anything unique or anything before you go to sleep, or is he just like already out?
This time he's already out. Like he literally just tossed his bag of stuff in the corner of like the edge of this like thing of force, and
Mhm.
just got his bedroll, shoved himself in it, rolled over, closed his eyes, and just passed out.
Okay.
He's exhausted.
And your dreams are mundane and uneventful, and it's nice to sleep somewhere warm. Something to note about when Ostoya still had the darkness over it. Sometimes it would be so cold that it would actually snow. Other times it would be just like raining and really, really cold, and other times there would be high winds and no rain, dense fog, all sorts of things. But now that the darkness is gone, it's like an entirely different place. It's like being in the West again. And being in this little hut where it's warm, it's nice. And the night passes, and when the morning sun rises over the edge of the rocky outcropping, it gently starts to kind of in slices come through to the little hut. And about that time is probably when the hut would disappear as well. And if you guys weren't awake already by then, you're probably awake by the time that the Ostoyan cold rushes back in.
I will be back. I'm just gonna use the bathroom.
Okay. In fact, we can take a 5 right here if you guys want.
Okay, that sounds good to
Sure.
me.
Sure.
Yeah, we'll take a 5. Resume at I don't know, like 25 after. We'll get a couple extra.
Okay.
All right. So let's get back into it. The sun had just risen through the cracks, and the warmth of the Leomund's tiny hut had dissipated, bringing with it the inrushing cold from the Ostoyan morning air. And your fire is still gently smoking and just crackling and popping just a little bit. Most of it kind of like glazed over in ash, and a thin smoke column rising from it still.
He'd stretch in the corner, kind of unrolling from his blanket. Stand up. Is everyone else awake or still sleeping?
Hell no, I'm slumped.
Ilfharyn is awake. He sits on his bed, looking predictably at his book.
So, do you sleep?
I actually meant to discuss that with
I was thinking about that too, actually, leading into the session.
I don't know, because technically this race does over with all of the other stuff from Elf or something, but that one thing seems to be something that would persist, So I don't know. It's up to him, honestly.
So you know how elves normally do a trance kind of thing?
Yeah.
I would say you probably still have to kind of trance, because even though your race has that kind of ability to do that thing, I think you're still. It's described that you're half and half, so you're still partially mortal and need to kind of have that sleep to keep your brain going, lest you die or fall into madness or something.
So we're saying trance.
So you're probably in trance.
Okay. I look to Eamon. I sort of shake my head a bit.
Okay.
It's not sleeping per se, but similar.
I see, like the elves.
Yes, like the elves. Yes.
Well, I have met a few similar people to yourselves without so much magic influence, or whatever is going on with your face. But do you eat breakfast?
Yes. I have some rations.
Oh yes. Do we still have leftover of the meat from last night at all, from what we butchered?
I'd say yeah. I don't think you guys are probably able to eat all of it. And mind you, the meat was kind of dried out, sort of like jerky. The creature, we'll call it, was probably not the most hydrated thing, and that kind of carried over. And so if you guys were to have eaten it all, you probably would have gotten sick.
Ugh.
So there's still some there.
Do you have an extra ration, perhaps? I ran out of the wall mine.
A question first. How far are we from Ostoya?
How many days travel? How are we left now?
You guys are maybe about 2 days travel left away. You're getting close.
I'd say
Nighttime the following day, you'll probably arrive.
we're some leagues away still, but by day after next evening, we should be there.
Day after next evening. Kind of open my backpack, rifle through it a little bit, and then I hand you a ration. And I get one out for myself.
Is Rylon near me? Yeah, I assume it was 10 feet big, so he's kind of near me. I'm gonna walk over and kind of kick him
Let's
a little
go
bit.
now.
Kick.
What?
So let's go. It's the morning. You just don't. You don't quite have people making you breakfast anymore.
I throw Rylon a ration.
There's a slight sob as Rylon's curled with his back turned towards everybody, realizing that he'll never have a good breakfast ever again.
There are restaurants in cities.
I have just enough to get us there.
All right, I get up and roll up my blanket, and I throw it into my backpack. I pick up the ration on the way up, and give a small nod to Ilfharyn. So, how is everyone ready?
As always.
Very hungry.
I look at our 2 horses, and there's 3 of us. This is a bit of a pickle. Do you not have a steed of your own?
No.
Right, okay. Tell you what, you could take my horse.
And
No.
you.
What are you going to do?
I'm going to fly. But I will
You're going to
be...
fly.
Yes, but I'm going to be a ways above. Hopefully out of sight. But still close enough that where I can manage to get a glimpse of your horses. Just in case.
Can you, is that the... I'm assuming that's with the wings.
Astute observation, yes.
So that's not a time limited. You can keep doing that all day.
That's correct.
Okay, well, I would have offered to prepare the spell, but that works.
Quite gifted.
And just throw my backpack over my back and shoot out the wings and kind of grab the reins of my horse and offer it to Ilfharyn.
I hop onto the horse. Much appreciated.
Right. And I kind of slowly make my way like 10 feet off the ground as we prepare to leave.
Okay. And looking kind of around you, 10 feet up, you can see just over the edge of like the rock sort of structure, and like maybe 50, 60 feet away, you see high up in a tree, maybe about 40 feet in the air, a large bat just like hanging upside down from the tree, like wings wrapped around its head and the rest of its body, to shield itself from the morning light. By large bat, I mean like horse-sized bat.
Is it like hiding in a shadow, or is it
No,
skulking
it's
in
just
the day?
like it's just skulking in the day, like covering itself up with these wings.
Does it look like it's trying to sleep?
Perhaps it is still fairly early.
I let the crowd know below. So we should probably make some haste if we want to keep up with the time Eamon has predicted for us. We don't know what else lurks around here. We've been here for quite some time. We've certainly gathered some sort of attention.
Okay. You kind of like half eaten with his ration. They're picking up the rest of the pieces.
Eat and ride, come on.
Yeah, I didn't see you picking up the camp, okay, Mr. Wings? He would grumble some more, letting off some curses in Elvish again, as he picks up the rest of the camp, gets on his horse, and starts heading to Attica.
Okay. Do you guys give the bat kind of like a wide berth, or we're just kind of like straight past it? It's kind of it's just an offshoot of in your way, like just barely in your way.
Yeah, we'll berth around it.
Okay. Then it doesn't wake, and you guys continue on with your day. It's only an hour or two of traveling. I'm not sure if you guys speak a whole lot, but it's only about an hour or two of traveling into your day before off to the left-hand side up ahead. Like you could probably go around it. You see a fairly dark patch of trees where, as far as you can see, um, the trees are wrapped in webs that kind of like are so thick higher up in the trees that the area between the trees is actually kind of shaded and darker. By now being 2 hours later, the sun has risen, just maybe like the equivalent of 9 a.m. sort of sunlight in the winter time. And you see like scurrying around in one of the webs, um, a leg of something very quickly, but then it's out of sight when you look again. And there are sort of web wrapped, body shaped figures dangling from these trees as well.
Okay, well, let's get avoiding of the angry spiders.
Hmm.
Do you know anything with fire?
Of course.
Great, kill it with fire if it attacks us, please.
Oh, absolutely.
And nudges horse head a little slighter, a little faster rather.
Okay. And if you guys are moving around the trees, then that means you'll have to go around the right-hand side. How much of a distance do you keep between these trees and yourselves? Too much of a spread would mean you're adding a little bit of time to your journey. Not much, but a little bit. And, give me an idea.
Is Rylon above us still? At Rylon?
Yeah, I'm like about like 20 feet above you guys.
Suppose, do you think that we can travel along the edge safely, Mr. Ilfharyn?
You're asking me?
You are the one on the ground with me, yes? He's up there, safe and sound.
Well, look, even if they do attack us, what are they, some big spiders?
Like, I only hope that they are simply just big spiders. You know?
We'll be fine. You're capable, aren't you? And one of us has wings.
Okay. And he'd kind of lead his horse towards that direction, and we would travel along the side of these woods. We wouldn't enter directly into them, but we'd just kind of skirt alongside them.
And skirting alongside them lasts for a few miles. Oddly large portion of the forest that is just kind of like strung together with these thick webs and hanging wrapped bodies. Can you please make a perception check for me, Eamon? Ooh, a 19. Okay. You probably you seem a little bit skittish. Is that fair to assume for Eamon? He's not a super big fan of spiders, or is that
He's just not a
he's
big
just worried
fan
that
of
it's
the
something
unknown,
worse?
and this thing is it's walking alongside the possible danger here. He's very much glancing into the woods to his left constantly, very
Okay.
concerned.
And in one of your glances, you do see something kind of like scurry up one of the trees, maybe like 3 or 4 trees in maybe like 60 or 70 feet into the edge of these woods. You see something scurry up the tree, and it's like it's kind of like a spider, except it's like a human body with multiple legs that all have sort of like 3 elongated fingers on them. So it's got 8 legs and a human shaped head, and his whole body is kind of wrapped in these webs, like hands, legs, arms, except its head. And its head is like crawling up one of these trees, and then turns around, and the head looks at you from upside down.
He would like let out a giant jump as he pulls his horse away to the right, away from this fucking thing.
What? What?
He would point up there. Zat sing.
Oh, Christ.
Ilfharyn looks up.
Yeah, you see exactly what I just described, and like scurries around to the far side of the tree, and then like you don't know where it went from there, up or down or wherever.
This place is rather strange, isn't it?
That was not the spider.
Hmm.
Did Eamon let out a like an actual shriek or like?
Oh yeah, yeah. Like an audible like shout of surprise, as he was expecting to see a spider and saw something a little bit worse.
I would descend from my height and kind of float above like 5 feet or so above the horses and kind of come down swooping in. Is everything all right?
Oh, I got spooked.
You got
There's,
spooked.
There's something in the trees here. It's this way, and he points to all the webbed trees. The spider, humans. Kind of squints like he doesn't know how to describe what exactly. he saw.
Spider humans?
Yeah, it looks
Like
like,
some
a
sort
spider
of-
to me.
Some sort of like lichen arachno creature like that? Like hybrid between a spider and a human, like a werewolf almost?
Rylon. It looked at me. It had many appendages, and he kind of just shivers again, like yeah. It's not, like it's nothing I've ever seen before, and it is right next to us. I am very concerned.
Listen, if
Now
you're
that you've
arachnophobic, it's okay. Like, you can just tell us.
It's not a fucking spider, Rylon.
Right, jeez. Sorry. Alright, I'll keep close, alright? I won't fly as high as before. I'll just keep riding.
now that you've seen one of them, Eamon, you kind of like maybe glance in there a couple more times, and you think that you see them in other spots, but when you actually go to look to see where you thought you saw it, it's not there.
Gotcha.
For those of you that want like a strong visual representation of what this thing looks like, what I just described, go ahead and look in D&D General 2A. There's a scrapbook.
Yeah, yeah, he's kind of gonna continue, I guess, with you flying above him, but his hands kind of looks prepared to lash out. Not the gray hand, by the way, the other one, the working one. You along trying to get some distance.
Okay. And it's only a matter of another mile or two before the forest kind of like closes off to the left, and it goes back to normal forest all around you. The webbed portion ends. You probably spot one or two more of these creatures. If Rylon were to see one, and that's kind of up to you, I'm gonna let you flavor that. If you were to see one, you would recognize that it's the same kind of creature that you saw at the gates into Fallowheart, the ones that they used to detect witch hunters that were trying to get into the city.
Oh. Those weird caged creatures?
Yeah, the caged kind of spider people things. You would remember the name probably. I believe was mentioned, the Lunar Echidna.
Lunar Kidna. Alright, well, if I did glance over and I happened to see one, I would relay that information over towards Eamon. Back in Fallowheart, when we arrived, they had a couple of those creatures lurking in cages along the fence line, the walls, to detect specifically witch hunters. They seem to have a disdain for them as an example of what what would happen, or what they do to looters, essentially, as a hanging witch hunter stood outside their gates. So it's quite possible
Actually,
that,
cages things.
I suppose so, or perhaps they let out a natural sound, or they have some sort of spider sense that when it comes to creatures similar to witch hunters. Um, Luckily for ourselves, it wasn't much of an issue.
Whew. Well, okay. I feel a little bit better knowing that information.
Are you saying this out loud, or are you saying
Yes,
this?
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm
out loud.
assuming I would have seen these things as well. Then, probably.
Yeah, probably. If you were to glance in the woods, they were definitely there.
No, I
I
mean
mean,
from.
with
I
with
mean,
such a large expanse of them, you guys
I
cross
mean,
mile upon mile of these woods.
in Fallowheart.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That was those.
Yeah.
Wait, you were in Fallowheart?
Yes, recently.
What? When?
Before I came here.
Did you see the druid?
The druid.
Okay, never mind. It must have been a little bit before or after our stay. But I mean, if you were here now, it couldn't have been that far before.
Well, consider. I'm assuming you've had horses since then, if not before.
We've had and we've hadn't. Well, to be fair, we did take a bat rider from Fallowheart to Lunx, so, or to the outskirts of Void. Sorry.
Oh,
I'm near Void, so.
okay. In that case, I was probably there before you.
Perhaps. Well, either or. Yes, those are those creatures.
Interesting.
None of you are witch hunters, are you?
No.
Thankfully, no.
Very well. I would still keep on your guard, but don't be so afraid. They might like that.
Right. Yeah, we would keep on keeping on through the forest. I suppose.
And the day continues, and the day slowly comes to a close. Unless you guys do anything else that would be notable throughout the day. All right, cool. Oh.
Yeah, out of curiosity, at one point during the day, I am going to cast Detect Evil and Good just to see if I could pick up anything from Mr. Neza here.
Okay.
It would basically be just if he has any senses of an aberration, celestial, elemental, fey, fiend, or undead.
And I'm gonna let Ilfharyn answer that one.
I don't think so. No.
Okay.
Nothing like that.
You would just see the normal celestial glow coming from Rylon, and then just look over to Ilfharyn. It would just be dull and normal, and it's like, huh.
Yep. It is yeah. No war there.
Okay, and so then the rest of the day probably passes, and you guys find yourselves in front of what looks to be an abandoned sort of Ostoyan home, just one out in the countryside. It could have probably been from before the darkness and whatever the darkness brought along with it. That this house held residence, because it looks like it's partially in ruins and that it's been a long time since it's been lived in. But you guys do cross that probably about the time that sunset is coming over, and you could probably continue traveling for another hour before you really need to find camp. But if you choose to camp here, this place is available to you, it seems, at first glance.
So, thoughts?
On the creepy house?
Yes, on the creepy house.
I think it looks like a creepy house.
That most things
in the Ostonian Empire could look like creepy houses.
Hey, I resent that.
You,
Look up.
um, hmm. Mm. Well, it doesn't really make much difference to me. We could go in, have a look around. As for sleeping, I would probably recommend the hut.
Right, sure. Let's peek our noses where perhaps they don't belong, and then see if we can't find anything interesting.
Okay. And so this building is about, it's 2 floors, um, maybe 30 feet wide, 30 feet deep, and about 20 feet tall. So like really small, short ceilings, kind of a cramped little place. Uh, the front door is open, and there are a couple steps leading up to it, but they're half covered in mud, and the windows that the building did have previously, probably, are boarded up as if somebody had been trying to survive here after the darkness came.
Perhaps someone is home.
Mm, perhaps.
I land on the ground and I'll put my wings away. As as I land in almost like an awkward parachuter, like when he hits the ground and kind of does like a stumble a bit. And so, who's first?
Um, wouldn't you prefer that I check for things first?
Check as in how?
Like a detect magic, perhaps?
By all means.
Good to be diligent.
That it is.
You hear a creak on the second floor as you guys are discussing this.
Hmm. I'd like to think that I have time to cast a ritual, but I'm not sure if I do.
Well, time could be perhaps. Uh, I think that if you wanted to do a ritual, if someone is in there and wants to make themselves known, then they will in the meantime.
Well, it's immediately or in 10 minutes. Is the option here?
I think that we have 10 minutes if you need.
It's up to you.
Glancing at the windows, do I see any movement, like from window to window? Or does everything seem quiet?
The first floor windows, like I said, they're boarded, but the second floor windows, if you were to look up at them, they're all kind of boarded except for one that looks like the boards that were there are like snapped and like caved inward, sort of. But as for anything else that you can see past that, it just looks kind of dark in there. There's nothing that stands out, and you don't see any figures like shifting around. It could just be the angle, though.
Perhaps you should just go ahead and do it.
As you wish. I will cast Detect Magic.
Okay. You detect, yeah, I would say you detect some magic. Just, oddly enough, you're not able to really determine what school it is. And it only feels like there's a trace of magic there, not like like something magical is going on right now or anything like that.
Gotcha. So not like a creature, not like a trap, nothing like that. It's just like something was here and now it's not.
Something had happened, and now it is no longer happening.
Okay.
It's a residue.
A residue, yeah. Residual magic, we could say.
There's something here. Kind of pan my head from left to right and up to the second floor. But I don't think it's here now.
You do hear another creak.
There's something, though, not magic.
Well, then there's nothing to worry about. And I walk up towards the door and try to unlock it. Or, I mean, open it if it's not locked.
The door was already kind of busted in.
Oh, okay. So then I just kind of open it up.
Yeah, as you open it fully all the way, you see straight in front of you a small set of stairs that kind of goes up a few feet and then like 90-degree bends up towards the second floor. As for the rest of it, it just seems like there's one big room on your left that may have been a living room and a single small room on the right that who knows what it was used for. There's a desk tipped over on its side and the drawers open and thrown on the floor and papers scattered about and collecting plenty of dust and grime by now. Meanwhile, in the sort of living room, you see that there was a table with a bunch of kind of like semi-ornate Ostoyan trinkets on it, like plates and glasses and alcoholic bottles that are now crashed and on the ground, along with the plates and everything else, as well as a chest that has been opened up and rid of its contents except for like a blanket and a couple chairs.
Any vintage wine?
Yeah, there is one bottle that survived the crashing on the ground.
I would kind of walk over towards it and kind of inspect it and reminisce a bit to myself and kind of put it in my bag.
Still corked, the label reads as you dust it off: Hugo Grand Vas, Bonasau.
I like that.
Odd. And then you hear a creak again upstairs, along with a heavy footstep.
Hello? Is someone home?
Are you trying to alert them to our presence?
I think they know we are here.
They stop moving, and who knows, they could be listening, they could be laying a trap. Whatever it was, it stopped moving.
It heard us outside for sure.
Directly above us in here, no?
Yeah, like directly above you.
I could go and check.
Quietly?
The most quietly.
Gives you a firm nod.
Okay, this place is pretty small, right?
The place is pretty small. Like I said, it's about 30 feet by 30 feet, with about 20, 25-ish feet tall, including the roof. Small, short ceilings, a single stairway that leads up, and then 90-degree bends up to the second floor. So like you could reach up and touch the ceiling, definitely, if you wanted to.
Gotcha. Okay. I'm gonna go over to the stairs.
Okay.
I have a feeling these stairs are going to creak, and I kind of want to get as close as I possibly can for doing this. So I would like to make a stealth roll.
Yeah.
In order to go up the stairs quietly.
Absolutely. Okay. Your first step is fine. Your second step is fine as well. Your third step, however, is also fine. Nothing happens. And step after step, you make your way up to that 90-degree bend, unless you choose not to go that high up. Your call.
No. I will go to the top if I can get there quietly.
Yeah, and you are.
Okay.
You kind of actually step at the very edges of the steps going up, so that you're not stepping in the middle where it would likely bow and creak.
Mhm. I'm going to assume there are doors up here. I'm trying to make my way to directly above that large room with the trinkets in it, where the sound was coming from. I'm not going there. I want to look in that direction just to see what's ahead of me.
There is a door there. It's open like a crack. You could see through it if you wanted to. Do you have dark sight at all?
No.
Okay. So you could see through it if you wanted to. You may not be able to see very much.
Mhm.
And you could open it up to see more, perhaps. But that's kind of your obstacle right now.
Okay. Um, is anybody like at the bottom of the stairs? You guys still in the main room?
Yeah, I'll wait for you at the bottom of the stairs.
Yeah, I was sitting like the foyer, kind of just like glancing up at the ceiling.
Okay. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna kind of put my finger to my lips as a kind of be quiet. Um, and then I am going to completely disappear. Um, I'll lose my racial ability now. And that is fade away. Um, so for 1 minute, I am in the ethereal plane. Can see into the material plane. Um, there is a. I I feel like I read somewhere that you can like pass through objects, but I feel like that's kind of ridiculous. So I'm not gonna like push for that or anything.
Okay.
So I am essentially gone now. I just disappear from view. While in the ethereal plane, I'm gonna make my way up to the door. Um, I can't interact with anything, but I can look through the crack.
Okay. You see in there, looking through the crack, it looks like it's just one big sort of top attic floor, kind of, that wasn't
Mhm.
Either wasn't completed or has been renovated a little bit or something. And there's some furniture, like a couple chairs and a table that are just knocked over on their side, and one of the chairs is actually like completely smashed, his legs sort of strewn about. Very simple furniture, like nothing ornate or special, just simple. Four legs, four kind of braces between the legs, a seat, and then like a straight 90-degree sort of back. That's that kind of stuff. And on the ground, from what you can see, there appears to be uh, a corpse of a human and another corpse of something kind of gray and lanky, almost sort of undead looking, but like this long sort of tongue or tentacle coming down from its mouth, and it's got sort of elongated fingers with lengthy straight nails, but it is dead, as is a second one that's like drooped over top of the first one, and they're all sort of in this clump, but you can't see what was walking around
Mhm.
unless you were to like completely open the door or go through it. It could be on the other side of the door. It could be around a corner. Who knows?
Mhm. As an additional question, I'm still running detect magic because this is not concentration. Where is that magic actually coming from? Is it just the house in general? Is it like a specific area?
Uh, Other side of the door, and then forward maybe about 5 or 10 feet on the ground.
Gotcha. Okay. Um, as a bonus action, I will dismiss my fade away, and this is actually written kind of weird. Uh,
Okay.
because when you dismiss it or after the minute ends, you appear in the closest unoccupied space you disappeared from. So I think I just teleport back to where I was.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's kind
Yeah,
of cool.
it's
Which would be
it's
pretty much where you are now, right?
no, it would be at the top of the stairs, unless like
Oh, I
moved the
might have
door.
misunderstood. I thought you were still at the top of the stairs because the door is like at the top of the stairs.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay, then yeah, I'll dismiss it and I will reappear.
Okay.
I look down to Rylon and I point at the door.
Kind of do like a rolling of my wrist motion, like your hand, like go on.
I kind of open my mouth as if to speak, and then once more I put my finger to my lips, and then I point at the door again.
Hey, what's
What is going on? He says. He calls over from the center of the bottom of the room.
There's another step. Who's there?
I still turn my head to the door.
With it. I heard you.
Hello. My name is Eamon.
He pauses. It's sort of masculine voice, but it has a lisp as well. He pauses for a moment and then says, "You won't take it from me."
No.
I know what you are here for. This
Can I
is
go-
mine.
Glances to Rylon. Sure. It's yours.
Yes.
What is it? What exactly is yours? And where are you? He's kind of like looking around.
Hearing this, I'm going to point to the door again, and I'm going to look at Rylon. Since I can't see Eamon, I don't think. Because he's in
Yeah,
the big
no,
room. Yeah.
Yep. I would motion you to come back down the stairs.
Sure. I will begin making my way back down the stairs.
You're on the other side of this door when I open it. I will flay the skin from your bones.
I stop making my way down the stairs. I kind of furrow my brow, looking at Rylon, and I place a hand on the rapier on my side.
Listen, friend, we're just your neighbors. We're just looking for some sugar. No trouble here.
I don't live here.
So then you should come out and speak to us then. We have no intentions of harming you or taking anything you have. We're just passing through.
He pauses for a moment, thinks perhaps, listens perhaps, and the door slowly begins to creak open. Ilfharyn, are you at kind of like the halfway point at the 90-degree bend, or are you?
I'm probably like 3 steps down.
Okay.
Like, I am assuming as the door begins opening, it's creaking, and so I'm turning around to that, but my hand is still, my left hand on my right hip, still holding onto the rapier.
Okay. So as the door opens, you see a figure that is sort of humanoid, but made kind of animalistic hind legs that it stands on, but like very human like arms, and it stands on 2 feet. It's got a long tail that comes to like a whip like barb. Its legs and arms and entire body void of skin, and cast of like strands of sinew and muscle and bone, and its head is oddly kind of like horse-like in shape, and it kind of
Is that you?
extends out. He's not holding a weapon or anything, but if you would like a better representation.
Yeah, I knew it.
What the fuck is that?
It's Krill.
Is the detect magic moving with him?
State your purpose. The detect magic is not moving with him.
Okay, so it's still in the room. Okay.
You have 2 seconds before I rip your legs from your body.
Wait, do I? That I don't remember. Have I actually?
I don't
met
think you
Krill?
ever met him, no. So probably in your dream, it would have seemed really odd that there was like a demon standing next to Ruben.
Oh, so I do recognize him at least from the dream.
From the dream, yes.
Whoa, friend, hold on. There's no
I'm
need
not your
for-
friend.
We are potentially friends, maybe. Who knows?
You're a friend?
Maybe. I had some sort of vision or a premonition or something the other night. You wouldn't happen to know Gabriel or Ruben? Those names sound familiar.
Gabriel and Ruben, what? Exactly.
Fuck. Ruben Olsen? Olsoon?
His posture visibly releases tension and is pretty calm when he goes to like standing straight up. No longer in like I'm gonna rip your legs off kind of combat stance. And he looks kind of around the corner down the stairs towards you. Yes, actually, I'm here for Ruben.
You are?
Yes, on behalf of Ruben. He doesn't know this. It's a surprise.
I kind of lower my shoulders, kind of loosen up a bit in a less tense position. My name is Rylon. I traveled with Ruben for some time before he headed northward.
Yes. You would sleep inside the cage.
Yeah, right.
Yes, I remember you. Do you remember the time that the Lycans attacked, the horses?
How could I forget?
Pleasant memories, good times.
Right. So you're here for what? To surprise Ruben?
Yes, I was actually here to kill, this one here, but the gaunt ones beat me to it. And he points to, the corpse on the ground behind him that you guys can't see from where you are.
Right. So what were you looking for?
Something of magical origin.
But it's no longer here, or?
It's well hidden, I think, or perhaps disguised in some way. It looks like a whip of some sort, or a chain, if you would.
Could I enter that room?
He squints at you for a moment, turns his head kind of sideways, sniffs a couple times, turns his head the other way sideways, like kind of side eyes you. For some reason, like he can look straight at you, but he side eyes you. I suppose. He like steps aside from the door.
I still don't trust this guy. I'm keeping my hand on my rapier, but I'm moving past him, towards where the aura is.
His lengthy tail sort of taps you on the shoulder gently as you walk through. That's a boy. And as you make your way into the room, you realize that there's an odd sort of hollowness to the floor, and you step about 5 feet in, and you feel like this faint magical aura is directly beneath you.
All right. I'll turn myself towards him just so that my front is still to him, so that my back is not. Get down on all fours. And I guess I will start feeling at the floorboards.
What are you doing?
There's something under here.
He very forcefully steps towards you and attempts to push you out of the way. Step aside.
Okay. I will get pushed. I'm immediately gonna stand and put my hand back on my rapier.
Okay. And he goes about like he kneels down on one knee and just like rakes his like bony sort of spine that comes out of his forearm into this floorboard and like rips it clean from like it's not in the best condition. It's an old floorboard, maybe a little bit rotted or something like that, and it comes loose pretty easily. But there is a crash along with it. And he starts to dig around in there before you hear like the jingle of a chain. I think this is what I was looking for. I owe you an apology for starving you like that.
I nod slightly.
Do you accept my apology?
Sure.
Good. Not to say that enough blood has been shed today, the Lord always loves blood. But I could probably refrain from yours.
It would be greatly appreciated.
Of course. Of course. And he pulls up this chain. It's a fighting chain. It's bladed, and it has a faint magical aura about it. Ruben
I
is
would
going
have
to love this.
made my way up the stairs at this point.
What did the text at the bottom of this place say again?
The
In the main
text?
room? The you read out something on the wall, right?
No, it was the wine.
Wine, that's right. Okay.
This individual is not deserving of this. Ruben will make good use of it. He just has to do something first. And he starts stepping down, like completely ignoring Ilfharyn and making his way for the door and seemingly looking like he's about to head down the stairs.
Well, it's certainly on brand, so that's a good find. I'm sure he'd like that.
Yes, he's taken a liking to these sort of things. It will be a bit difficult to reach him presently. I don't think that there will be much bloodshed around him.
So are you leaving? How do you plan on getting to where they are? It's quite far.
I'll find something to kill.
What?
He looks you like deadpan straight in the face. I said that I'll find something to kill.
And what? You're going to eat it?
No, heavens no. I don't eat.
My apologies. Then is it some sort of ritual then?
No. The Lord takes me where the Lord wishes. I just need to open the portal.
But you plan on returning to Reuben?
I do, yes.
Do you mind doing me a favor? When
I
you...
quite do mind, actually.
It's just, I mean, if you're already going to be traveling to Reuben, do you mind giving him something other than just a whip?
Giving him something. I can't promise that it will arrive in the same condition.
What do you mean?
The Hells are a strange place. Many things get warm. This will survive for its magical.
Ah, I see. Never mind then.
Yes, unless of course you'd like to pray to the Lord to protect it.
I'm all set.
Suit yourself.
But,
what is
please-
it exactly, so that he has something to look forward to?
A nice bottle of Hugo Grand Vase.
I don't think that he likes to drink.
No, but times are different.
Times are hard. They sail along the east coast presently.
On the East Coast.
Yes,
Where?
I'm not sure.
Well, I assume time is of the essence then.
Time is of something, that is for sure.
Very well. Safe travels to
I'm always
you,
safe.
and I say very coy-like, right. I'm sure Solima guides you well.
Yes. I could never stray under the watchful gaze of Tormach. And he tries to step around you and towards the door.
Yeah, I definitely don't get in his way.
He makes his way out the door and begins sauntering off towards. He actually takes a moment to look around, and then looks like he just kind of on a whim starts headed south.
I just think to myself, so Reuben worships Tormach. Interesting.
You knew that one?
I don't know that one in particular, but I mean, I sort of, maybe. I think he's just a friend of a friend, is more a proper way to put it.
Friend of a friend.
Interesting friends.
My thought exactly. Well, I suppose since now this is empty, shall we make some sort of camp here?
Sure.
That interaction did probably take you guys about 15, 20 minutes. By now the sun is getting low on the horizon, very low. Like it is in the process of setting, I mean.
Very well. We should board up this door somehow. Is there any like furniture around or anything?
Yeah, there's like scraps from wood all around, like tables that are missing their legs but still otherwise intact, like the surface of them are. There's that cabinet that housed all of that like plates and bottles and glasses that could easily be moved in front of a window or a door. And then of course there are the chairs. There's probably about 4 to 6 chairs in total. It's kind of hard to count actually because most of them are just in like scraps of legs and the backs of chairs and stuff like that. And then there's also a chest that was empty in the main room downstairs. And somewhere in the top floor there is a single bed, like a small sort of wooden frame, twin-size bed.
Eamon, do you mind helping me move this table in front of the door, or putting it right side up so we can keep the door shut?
Sure. As he helps you move the thing, he picks it up. So is this a friend of a friend? Do you know him well?
No, not at all.
Uh,
This is the first encounter I've had with this creature.
I see. And he just so casually walks out into the night? He's not concerned about the creatures out there?
Eamon, I know that, at least from the travels that we've been together, that you're quite perceptive. Would you tangle with that creature?
Not directly, no.
Exactly. I'm based on his and the information that he divulged about harvesting a creature that would allow him to travel interdimensionally across the planes. I think he's better left alone.
I don't know. I don't think he. I think he just looks like a big thing.
Yeah, a big thing.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
It's probably just going to run at you with those claws. Wouldn't be that difficult.
Claws, he's... Which ones? He's got claws all over.
Doesn't matter.
And he's likely out there trying to find an animal to poof.
Either way, he's a friend of Ruben's, he's a friend of mine. And he doesn't look like he's going to hurt us, so you should probably take advantage of that.
Okay, well then, shall we get some sleep in this place, or would you like to use the hut?
I prefer using the hut, but I don't mind.
I see why not
Does
use
the-
both, right?
Does the hut have any sort of material component need?
I mean it does, but because I'm
But it
using
doesn't
a-
consume it.
No, because I'm using a focus.
Oh, okay, got it.
It would be a small crystal bead, but I have a
Yeah.
crystal, so any yeah.
Got it.
So why don't you prepare that outside for a moment, and I will just finish searching this place. See if
Why would you
got
prepare it
anything behind.
outside? Why not prepare it here in the living room?
The only thing is I need everybody in it.
Right. Okay, well, fuck it. He would move to the center of the...
Well, once
living room.
the dome is up, are we allowed to leave it, or does it break the
No.
spell?
No, well, I mean, You could leave it, but I don't think you would be able to come back in. I'm not sure. You could try it.
We could test it. Who wants to sleep outside in the cold tonight? Look at Rylon.
I will be more than happy to give it a try.
Hang on, give me a moment. I open this spellbook. I flick to a page. It's a fair bit in. I read it for a moment. No. It's fine. You can exit. As long as you're in it in the beginning.
There we go. So wait 10 minutes. Then you can peruse all you want, Eamon.
In here?
Yeah, why not? Well, double layer protection, right?
Sure. Alright, sure. I'll cast it as a ritual. Sure, I think we've got 10 minutes here.
Sounds good.
So I'll spend, actually 11 minutes doing that.
Okay. And it finishes casting. Nothing disturbs you along the way. But by the time it is done casting, it is dark outside. At least it's warm and hot. And I assume that you guys are all in it, and then that's when Eamon goes to kind of scout the rest of the house. It's a small house. You guys could pretty much clear it in a minute of looking around. Less than that even. But is that sort of the idea? Is you guys are in it, and then he just sort of leaves and goes about looking around?
Yep, seems about right. Just as taking some glances around and try to get more information about this place.
Okay. It's a short walk. You walk on the first floor. Like I said, it's just kind of two rooms. One smaller room that who knows what it was for, and then one kind of big room, which is like the living room where it has the kitchen and everything all combined into one room. Like living room. So the door was busted in, but you guys covered that with the table. The bottom floor windows were all boarded. The second floor has one unboarded window. And it was just one kind of big attic room where you make your way up through the door, and it's kind of one big O-shaped room where the center of the O is the stairs that you guys came up, and so there's kind of walls that are around those stairs. But other than that, it's just one big circular O-shaped room that has a single twin-size bed. You do notice up there that there is a human body that has been pretty bloodied and beaten. It's got scratches and tears all over it, as well as it's missing its heart, and it looks like one of the gaunt ones was fighting with the other one over the rest of the heart when perhaps Carol arrived and put an end to them. Who knows how
There's
Carol
like a
got
bag
there.
of things near the corpse, or like there's any kind of.
Yeah, there is actually a bag. It's empty because all the contents have been strewn about the room.
Yeah, looking for like some kind of journal or like papers, trying to get some.
You do find a journal of some sort. And as well as that, you find a couple small trinkets, like simple little things that probably have no importance. But if you must know what they are, they're like let's see here. There's a badly damaged like black piano key, which like it's snapped in the middle, and like the inside of it is kind of like painted red. It has no real significance at first glance, but if you wanted to hold on to it, that's what it is. And there is a desiccated and mummified mole, like it's just little dead rodent wrapped in cloth.
And this is with the rest of his things.
Yeah, which are like the rest of it is like spare clothing though, that's kind of bloodied and soiled now, and like his tome, which is strewn out of like it's all just strewn out about the floor, but that's kind of like the three things that are of note.
This mole thing kind of holds it upside down, like what the hell? Okay, he'd collect these things. and wander back downstairs and kind of step through the bubble again.
The book actually has some text on the front. It's like etched into it, perhaps. It's like a leather-bound book with like a clasp over the two covers to kind of like keep it sealed shut. And there's singed lettering on the front of it. Do you read it?
Yeah, after like setting some of the things down in front of him, putting his bag down, he'd sit cross-legged on the ground and look at the front of the book. What does it say?
It's less of a title, you could surmise, but more of an instruction, and it says, "Written but not read."
Huh. Written but not read. Spelled, and read is spelled R-E-A-D?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, I found these things upstairs with the rest of the corpse. Kind of lays them out on the floor.
Oh, what is it?
We have a book that is locked. We have a piano key. I did not see a piano, but this is a snapped piano key with the inside painted red. And this thing, and he holds up by like the desiccated tail, a literal mummified mole.
Mhm.
The person who lived here is quite strange.
More like they were strange.
True. So as this book says, written but not read. Uh, do you know anything more about the books? Ilfharyn?
I know plenty about books, sure, but this book, I can't say I know anything really. I would assume that the title is a warning of sorts, but do you mind giving it here?
Sure. He kind of holds the book out to you.
I take the book. This is locked. Yes.
Yeah, it's a leather-bound book with kind of like a strap over the two covers that link them together and seal the book shut.
So it would be easy to unlock. It's not like an actual lock. It's just strapped shut.
Yes, it would be easy to unlock.
Kind of look at the book. Look up at Eamon. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be read. Otherwise, I would read it.
Why would it be written?
Perhaps it's Put it this way: if this was magical, then I would have noticed it. So it can't be magical, which does put my mind at ease a fair amount. But I don't know.
Could it be like a curse or something without it being magical? Or is it safe since it is not magical?
I think, if I may,
Mhm.
Upon mentioning the word curse out loud to yourself, Eamon, you might perhaps remember something that the Lich had discussed with both you and Rylon about ways to cure curses. And one of the sort of 10 different components
A
that he
book that
told
was
you.
not read, yeah.
Yes, I have a list somewhere of that and had that list open. Books. Okay.
So I could open it and read it.
No,
Yeah,
it would
open
be
it
best
up,
not
open
to
it
open
up.
that. No, give me that book. Do not
Give it
open the
here.
book.
Yes,
Hold
crack
it.
that thing open.
He would like hold out his hand, and like there would be some force on the book, as like there would be like a tug as my invisible mage hand tries to pull the book back.
Interesting.
As in be
magic.
read, must be a great story.
I give a little tug, my own, just playfully, and then I
Yeah.
let go of it.
He lets out a sigh of relief. You know, I can be so forgetful sometimes. In fact, I need this, and I need it not to be read.
If
Usual.
if you were gonna read that, Nessie, I was completely gonna let that slide. But the moment that he said like curse out loud to himself, I was like, okay, fair. Like he probably just OSC doesn't remember.
Yeah, that's correct. I have so many different notes open right now. Okay.
Let me read it. Come on.
No, it has to be a book that has not been read
Well, how do you know it's not been read?
because it's sealed and it says not for reading.
That's a bit of a coincidence, don't you think?
It's quite odd. Maybe perhaps he was trying to lift a curse from himself.
Hogwash. Bring it here.
No, I'm
Tell us
not bringing you the book. You're not reading the book.
all
I'm putting
right,
it away.
all right.
Stuffs the book in his bag, like. And okay, so how about these two things? So they're not magical, but why did he have them? And he plants the desiccated, mummified mole and the black piano key.
Is that also on your list?
I have to search for my list. He starts going through his like own bag. But I don't recall specifically.
Hopefully that whip that creature stumbled away with is not also on your list.
Whip? I did not see what he had. I was on this floor. What did he get away with?
It wasn't technically a whip; it was a chain.
Chain like this, and he like points to the side of his waist.
No, a chain like a weapon.
Like a whip.
It's a chain.
I think actually doesn't Eamon have
He
a
points again
a
at
fighting
his
chain?
weapon at his waist, which is a fighting with a sickle on the end of it, like a blade.
Yeah,
So like
that's
this,
similar but not the same.
similar.
Yes, but
I
minus
kind of
the
crane my
sick
head to the
bend.
side. I suppose.
Swing it around. You hit people with it. You trip them.
Yes, yes.
So it's a whip.
It's a chain.
Whip chain.
Lash out at things specifically. Leather.
Well, do you have your list or not?
I need to hold on to these objects for that. I can sort
Right.
I'll pretend I knew what he said right there. I'm gonna need you to look at your mic this time.
My mic is attached to my head. Yeah, I know. Give me a moment. I'm checking my list and stuff, but continue with what you're doing. If you have any other ideas about this.
I don't think the.
Are you guys in the hut right now on the first floor?
Yeah.
Okay. No reason. Continue.
Insight check the DM.
Yeah. It is, of course, dark, and there are noises that you hear, like typical sort of nighttime darkness, Ostoyan noises, creatures screaming and shrieking off in the distance as they're doing their nighttime hunting, and chittering, and very few crickets. But there's plenty of other noises to make up for that loss of sound. And you hear howling and all these other sort of things, and then you hear like sort of scratching outside, like outside the door or outside the window.
You're sure we're safe inside this dome, right?
Absolutely. As I said, unless the magic is dispelled.
And there's no chance of that, right? He said, just kind of like looking through all of his papers.
Well, I'm assuming you know some things about magic, no?
I
There's a
know
chance
about
of a spell being cast, or I don't know, perhaps some sort of creature of the night that can do that sort of thing. Not that I would be aware of them, but sure, it's possible.
That's just not likely.
Exactly. That's why I've trusted this thing.
Can
Very
you make
well.
it so that we can see outside of this?
You can see outside.
And you
Okay.
look and you can see outside of it.
Gotcha. Oh, he'd look up from his
You had your
paper.
eyes shut the whole time.
I've been looking.
Open
I'm
your
looking at my
eyes,
map.
Eamon.
I'm looking. I'm looking for something specific. It is like looking for a needle in the haversack. But
And it's about that time during this conversation that you hear like the scratching and sniffing continue, and one of the boards is pried loose from one of the windows, and you see staring back in and sniffing, like kind of like trying to shove its head through the gap, a gaunt one, and its like tongue is like lapping around inside the broken board, and it's looking for whatever it could smell or hear.
it probably smells the body upstairs.
Yeah,
Or
probably.
us.
Can it smell us in here?
Likely. It's not like it stops smell, just stops sight.
Rylon would subtly smell his armpits.
You hear the creature sniff a few more times before you hear a howl off in the distance, and all of a sudden it jerks its head to the side and like starts sprinting towards whatever that sound came from. You get the feeling that it's gone.
Whew. I am all of a sudden grateful that we stumbled upon, or correction, that you stumbled upon us.
Well, as I said, I came all the way down here from Fallowheart. Been relying on this all the way.
Yes, I do feel like it would be quite more dangerous if not.
Yes, and that was on foot as well.
So, don't mind me to pry, but what reasons are you going to know Ostoya again, Ilfharyn? If you didn't mention it, I'm sorry, or if you did.
Oh, no, it's nothing, nothing too important. I just have to make a delivery.
A delivery.
Mm-hmm.
And then what?
I don't know. Probably make my way back up to Fallowheart. Maybe go back to Burak, or I don't know. I sort of just wander. I pick up things where I can and help where I can, or not help, I suppose.
You don't seek to return back to the Shall Not.
Like this.
Yes?
Not really, no. It was a thought of mine some years ago, but it had been some 150, well, less than that.
147.
Yes, 147 years since I had left. In fact, more than that. But yes, I just don't look forward to it.
Are you afraid
I'm
they're
sure
going
my-
to judge you?
A little bit, yes. I'm sure my family would still be there, but I don't. I'm just not sure. At the moment, I'm enjoying living.
Well, that is important, yes.
I'll go home. Don't worry. Eventually, I'll go back, but just not right now.
Got it. I won't pry. It's fine. I get it.
I mean, you can pry. It's not a secret. I just, I mean, look at me. Imagine
I mean, I'm
not.
trying to look.
Okay. Well, it would be the same for them.
Yeah, plenty of people have their own problems, friend.
I mean, of course, yes, which I help out with. Like I said, I can return home at any time. 150, 160, 170 years. What's 5 more?
Right. Okay.
So I guess that makes us both a little bit fish out of water, eh? Considering, and recently that I'm also not from this time.
Which time are you from then?
Time that is yet to happen.
Is in the future?
That is correct.
Well, I'm certainly from this time.
But you
Definitely
haven't
not.
spent enough time in this time.
No, I spent plenty of time in this time. I was, 85 when it happened?
Yes, but now you said you're 200 and something or another, right?
Correct. But that's just a time skip, really.
Yes, a blink of an eye.
In the blink of an eye, yes, as he says.
It's, to you, yes. But to an elf, no. Not that long.
You don't have to be posh about it. Jeez.
I'm just saying, It might sound like a long time, but time is relative.
I suppose you're right.
What do you think the world would be like if humans lived that long?
Dangerous.
Yes, probably terrible. Yes.
Indeed.
I think the short lives that mortals, humans, most importantly, live suit them well, because it gives them a sense of adventure and purpose, unlike most, no offense, but elves, who live hundreds and hundreds of years with nothing more than meandering around the same places over and over again and not really having direction. Humans, at least, live very short but outstanding lives.
Maybe.
Upon thinking of it, a few words cross your mind, Rylon. Ants that need to be led.
It's on the edge of my tongue. I hold it, but I think it. Well, shall we have some food, go to sleep?
You require more food.
He's used
Yes.
to eating good meals.
Okay, I have 4 rations remaining. That would be 4 days by myself, but that's tomorrow, and then 1 more.
Well, we're going to arrive tomorrow night, right, to the city?
Yes, but we're also going to sleep, and if you eat now, you might wake up hungry, and then you're going to want more.
Yes, but at least we'll be able to sleep at yeah, but we might be able to find at least tomorrow night like an inn or a tavern or something.
Rylon, I do think you'll be okay without eating for 1 whole night. Okay?
This is the one with the petrified mole. Hand it over.
You are not eating this
Don't
thing.
eat it. Don't eat that.
Right, fine.
It's not jerky. It's not salted jerk like jerky. It's old and perhaps cursed or something.
Cursed? Why is everything cursed for you?
Everything seems to be cursed all the time, actually. Dangerous and dark and, well, bad.
I would have to agree.
Fine.
But it is not on my list. Don't sing.
So, air in our thoughts for dinner it is.
I'm fine. I have 4. So if you would like a 1, then at least that gives us 3 for tomorrow.
No, it's fine. Don't want to be gluttonous over here.
Okay, good.
Rylon.
And as you're
and pissed off.
as you guys are eating or
Eating air.
yeah, as you guys are doing what you're doing, your eyelids start to feel a little bit heavy. It may be worth considering who's taking which watch, if you're taking watches at all.
I'm getting lazy and comfortable being in this nice little protection. It's night 2 being protected. I'm
It
going
is
to sleep.
nice and warm and comfortable. That's true.
Yeah, I feel safe. Nothing could go wrong here.
Yeah,
I
nothing.
agree.
I sleep.
I sleep and I roll a D100.
Oh no.
Okay. As does Ilfharyn do anything before he goes into trance?
No.
Okay. Then, undead, or I should say Eamon,
Mhm.
you wake up to you're the first one to wake up in the morning. The hut is now gone, and you see in front of yourself a figure. It's a feminine figure, and maybe you rub your eyes before you quite see it. But she looks at you. Eamon, is it you?
Yes. He'd look at the figure. Do I recognize this figure?
After rubbing your eyes, yeah, it's Alinda.
Ah, sister. And how are you?
Eamon, are you not surprised to see me?
I did send the message. I was hoping you would get it, even if you would not answer, but clearly you are.
Are you not excited to see me? She has
I
like a kind of like a bit of an upset look on her face.
have meter eyes. I am curious as to what you are going to say.
Yeah, yes, I'm just here to see you.
Is
To travel.
Of course I travel. There's work to be done at home, Olinda. The Raven Court is dangerous. They're out for their own whims. They care not about humanity or about you.
The Raven Court is dangerous. That's why I'm here.
I am traveling a very dangerous road, Olinda.
You are.
uh,
And I'm here to travel it with you.
How can you help? What is going on at Raven Court?
There's something you must know about the Raven Court. It's dangerous. There are many things that we cannot tell you. Things that are sacred.
And I have heard about the curse they place on you. I assume you are afflicted the same?
He nods.
Good, great, wonderful. And there's no way to escape this, right?
She shakes her head. No.
Do you know why I travel to Nova Ostoya?
Eamon, that does not matter. What
So-
matters is what I am here to tell you.
So then say it, Olinda.
When the darkness returns, it will bring with it. And as she begins to say it, she looks like she's rushing to say it as fast as she can to get the words out of her mouth, off her tongue. And they pour out into your ears when all of a sudden they cut off. And you see before you her face begin to wilt and turn gaunt and pale and brown and then gray.
Olinda?
And then it pours down her neck and to her arms, and all of a sudden she's like a skeleton with skin over her,
Lunge
taut
forward
and
to
gray.
grab her.
And as you lunge forth to grab her, you wake up in a sweat, and you hear a bang on the door. It's still nighttime. It's dark outside. Rylon! Rylon! Rylon, wake up!
Oh, what? Jeez, what?
Look,
Rylon, open the door, please!
Who's there?
Rylon! It's a voice you recognize. Rylon, I know you're in there. Please.
as he wakes up, just to say something that does immediately happen, I would immediately begin throwing up a thick black ichor on the ground, like immediately as soon as I wake up from this dream. I would just be puking onto the ground. This black
And it
throw up.
pools, and it's like tar, and it's sticky and thick and viscous, and it like stops running and spreading out fairly quickly. It's like solidifies almost. Rylon, there's no time for this.
Answers
There's like
that
banging on the door, like runs over to the window and is like trying to pry off the boards, and you hear the buzzing outside of those little things shrieking by.
Okay. Hold on. Who is it?
They're not going to be able to come in.
Rylon, please. You recognize the voice. It stays real.
I immediately run over towards the door and kind of whip the table off and open the door.
And as you open the door, a force, very strong, massive, bursts through the building, the direction that Stazriel was in when you opened the door, and you caught a glimpse of him before this massive maw just swallows him, knocking you back and into the Leomund's tiny hut. And this massive, slithering black creature ricochets off of Leomund's tiny hut as if it's like a bullet ricocheting off of a tank, and it just slithers and sails through the sky, carrying into the night with it Stazriel, which was seemingly eaten by it. And the buzzing continues. There are thousands of them surrounding the building, and suddenly it gets quieter and quieter and quieter and trails off into the night, and you find yourself in Leomund's tiny hut, the building around you collapsed and broken and blasted to pieces.
I would be breathing extremely heavily at this point.
He'd spit out a bit of black, like, whatever it is, and so what's just happened?
I don't know. Whatever that creature or thing or being was, it has taken my friend. And, I look up. Are we just completely like under like planks and furniture? And
Yeah,
shit?
it's like planks and furniture and like glimpses of the sky through it, and it's not cloudy. It's like you can see stars, and those are like the only sort of source of light that you see around you.
Kind of like puts a hand up to his head. Oh, Linda. No.
And now you're left wondering, what, perhaps, Eamon, you're wondering, did that dream mean something? Was there something to it, or was it just your mind wandering after having heard what the Lich had told you? And I imagine that that Rylon is at least a little bit shaken. You had witnessed firsthand this long serpent creature of darkness just swallow whole Stazriel, and then bounce off of your only form of shelter and streak off into the night.
Rylon.
Rylon would be just continuing to breathe very heavily, kind of just like on his ass.
Rylon.
What?
I need you to, God, I don't know what to do. I had a dream. Do you think that the darkness is going to return?
I don't know, but I wouldn't count it out.
I
What?
need you to try again. My sister. I need to know if she is I need to know if something was just a dream or if it was something more.
I don't. What do you mean? Do you want me to contact her?
Not now, but when we are safe, away from all that, I would like you to. I received a dream, a forewarning about the Ravencourt Sanctuary. I don't know if it was actually a dream or if it was true. But I would very much like to know if my sister is still alive. Is that reasonable, Rylon?
Yeah, I suppose. The only thing is that I'm not familiar with your sister, so it would be quite difficult for me to contact her directly. I could contact my friend Matisse and see if was able to locate her, but
Do you trust her?
do I trust who? Matisse?
Yes.
Of course, without a doubt.
Above the Ravencourt Sanctuary? So, do you think that she would put you above the Ravencourt?
I don't know. I would assume so. I traveled with her for quite some time, and our whole purpose was to make sure to get her somewhere where she could be cured of her aberrant curse. So, I would certainly hope so.
Ilfharyn, do you have any insight on any of this?
Ilfharyn opens his eyes. It seemed he was alarmed in the beginning of this whole thing. But at this point, he's just gone back to meditating. And he opens his eyes. Insight on what?
The giant creature that we just saw, the army of flying things seemingly coming from the east.
Apart from seeing it yesterday, fly overhead with all of those buzzing things. Is there a check I can do for this? I don't think I would have.
I don't think that anyone here would have
Alright.
known anything about it per se.
Sure.
But something
mhm.
that does happen is as you guys are discussing this, not shortly after the thing had flown off into the sky. It's probably been about a minute and a half. You hear a thud, loud enough to be heard, probably about 40 or 50 feet away from the hut. A crunch and a thud.
It looks to Rylon.
I get up off the ground and gonna try to maneuver my way out of this fucking debris.
Okay. It's a thin layer that buries you. Not enough that you can't push out of the way. It'll take a little bit of effort, but easily so. It's dark. It's very dark.
I cast light.
Light or ghost light?
We'll do ghost light.
Okay.
So all three of us can see, but no one can see the light itself.
Okay. And so it's like this silvery sort of light that irradiates from you guys. And then what do?
I go in the direction of the crunch. Thud.
You make your way out there. Flashes of thoughts and memories. Your first time meeting Stasriel. And the few times after that, the whole poaching incident that happened. All the times that he had preached about Zebriel. And perhaps some of the memories, not the best or the most fond memories, but memories nonetheless. And as you make your way out to this sound, your suspicions were likely correct. You find at the edge of your ghost light the torn wings and bloodied and broken body of a seraph wearing kind of like a silverish robe, easily recognizable as Stasriel.
I immediately get on the ground to my knees, and I kind of try to shake him a bit. Stasriel.
Nothing.
Can I make like a quick medicine check to see like how long it's been?
Yeah, sure.
21.
Ooh, 21. He's still warm.
I reach into my pocket as quick as I can, and I pull out my diamond, and I issue a bunch of prayers out loud,
Okay.
bringing forth the guidance of Solema, and praying for that she can extend a bit of her power one time and aid my friend here.
Okay.
And capture what other essence he has left and bring it back to him. And I'm going to cast Revivify on him. Or
Okay.
attempt to, anyways.
And so Eamon and Ilfharyn, you guys look watching him probably leave this hut. What do you do as he's wandering over here? Do you follow? Do you stay where you are?
I would follow him just to make sure he doesn't get attacked, but I'd be staying a distance back.
Okay.
So I don't think this is actually in the spell of this, but the way I understand Lehman's tiny hut is that the caster can't leave it, or it ends.
Does the spell ends if you leave its area? It just says you. I would assume it means like when everyone that was originally in it has left it.
Wait, it does say that?
Yeah, it says it at the first paragraph that you have there. The spell ends if you leave its
so
area.
it does. Okay, yeah, no, I'm staying here then. Yeah.
Okay. So you see like you can see the light coming off of them. Other creatures can't, but you can, and so you can see like as he steps out and walks over there, and then there in front of him is this dead winged man, and he crumbles down to his knees and starts letting out a prayer and glowing slightly.
My wings would have extended out at this point as well.
Mhm.
So I would honestly, even with the ghost light, it doesn't matter anymore because of the situation. I would naturally be emitting radiant light.
Yeah. Okay. And in the night you hear shrieks. Perhaps things noticing this kind of glow emitting from you, and being alerted to your presence. And as you begin to cast Revivify, you hear the words of High Faithful Latiaga through your head, like the different sort of phrases and verses from the words of Talstar and the words of Solima, and all of this kind of like echoing in like small parts that are overlapping each other, just like almost maddening in a way, except it's probably a little bit comforting for you. And you, as you're glowing and holding on to Stezriel, this diamond crumbles to dust in your hands. It like starts glowing along with you and then starts to burn away and turn to ash and crumble. And you see the faintest bit of Stezriel's chest rising. Rylon.
It's gonna be all right, friend. You're safe. And I'm just going to pump a force level cure wounds into him. So that's 26 HP back.
And so his you hear bones kind of like snapping back into place and like crackling and shifting. And you can see some of the wounds mending before you. He's still badly hurt, but he'll probably survive. Right on this. I found
Desiree.
something.
What happened to you? What was that?
Rylon. It knows you're here. And as he says, it knows we're here. That's where we're going to end this session.
Oh, fuck you. You really try to take my fucking best friend from me? That's fucked up.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that was good. There were some snippets in there. I think that's where we're gonna call this session, and so naturally that's where we're going to end this recording of the Split Party podcast. We have a big thanks for you guys for listening in, and we will catch you guys next time. Remember, never split the party.